Here we're back for the Print Factory show. I'm JSU. I'm your host today. We got Big T. We got ODB back. JJ, Uncle Dunkle from the bet side. And I got to start with Uncle Dunkle from the bet side because somebody's getting married tomorrow, and then someone else is not invited to said wedding tomorrow. So someone is pretty mad, but he still loves you, Dunkle. And, you know, are you nervous? I want to know. How are you feeling?
So wedding's Saturday, but
Okay.
You know what I am nervous for? I'm nervous to hear the
Uncle,
proposal.
I wouldn't know because I didn't get the invite. So I fucked the dates up. My bad.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous because of trying to understand the proposal from JSU. So I think that some people knew about the news already with me. Not a lot of people knew about the news with you. That kind of came out of nowhere. So let's walk us through what it's like to be off the market.
So I have a question for you guys first, because is everyone here married? I know Tony's married. ODB, are you married?
I'm married, happily married.
So I got a question because I've obviously, this is my first time. I did get engaged to my girlfriend yesterday, and it was my first time bending the knee to anybody, and I think I blacked out because I told Tony I don't remember what I said exactly. I don't know. After I said her name, I don't know what I said after that. All I remember is her taking the ring and, you know, not running away. So I was like, oh, this is a good sign. And yeah, from there. But do you guys remember like the whole thing, like when you did it? Like, because I definitely blacked out.
I remember, yeah. I was in Mexico. I was like the most nervous I've ever been. I don't know why either, because I was with Amber for a long time before we were engaged, and yeah, I was nervous. I don't know why. I think you always have to be. What's ODB's story? He's been together for a long time too.
My story, I'm married. This is second go around for me, and it's
I didn't even know you had another go round. I didn't know you had a first go round.
yeah, you know, we all got to have the trial, the first wife, and then I found the right one, and she's listening now. So, you know,
the one I met was the current one, right? Obviously.
yeah. We've been together for like 12 years, married for 8. We went to high school together, went our separate ways, lived life, got back together. Now we're living in Las Vegas, living the dream.
Living in that big ODB house that we all.
Not yet. One day
You're
we'll
still not in it.
House.
I thought I seen a picture of you. Oh, you're still like building it out.
No, we're building it out. So we'll be in there soon, but it's okay. My buddies let me stay. I got 5 TVs to sweat football. It's great.
So Dunkle, there was no like picnic or anything like that. It wasn't anything like that. If you're wondering, because I'm sure that's where you were trying to get at was where was it? What'd you do? There was nothing like that.
Holding hands at the shore, you know.
No. I thought about it, and I told Tony, because Tony was mad at me. He said, "You didn't even tell me." And I said, "Dude, I didn't tell anybody. My brothers didn't even know. Like my whole family didn't even know. Her parents knew because I took them out to dinner the night before, but outside of that, no one really knew." And we went to this like it's this like really nice like trail walk that we take she takes our dog all the time, and I'll go every once in a while. And it's a really nice trail, and we went there. She loves it. It's like one of her favorite places, and so that's where I did it.
Love it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Did you tear up? Did you shed a little tear?
I did not tear up.
JSU's a crier. I've seen JSU cry. He's a crier.
He's a crier. Yeah, no, I did not tear up. Honestly, I was definitely nervous though. I'm not a nervous person either. I don't get nervous very often, and so when I could tell that I was nervous, and that's how I know. When I say I literally don't remember what I said once I got on one knee, I really don't. I was that nervous. So
I don't get nervous. Yeah, I was nervous at the wedding even for some reason, for no reason either. But I was just like super nervous. I don't know why.
Who knew that when I signed on today, this was going to be a romance show?
I just got like 3 texts too that said, "Are you guys really talking about weddings and marriage on this show?"
When's Dr. Ruth come on? Jesus.
I mean,
11:30 on a Thursday night, and we're talking about weddings and proposals.
Let's talk about proposals. Who's got the most romantic story? Jesus.
Tony wanted to talk about it. Was the best part. So
Who?
just
I
so
didn't
those
bring it
people
up.
know, Tony was the one
No,
that
I
wanted
didn't.
to
Who
talk
brought it
about
up, Dunkel? Did I bring it up?
There's just something about young love, you know, with JSU. That's me every time.
All right, let's get into the football
congrats.
talk. We don't need to go any further into this. So, first off, ODB, how was, last week? How'd you do in the super contest? Give us the whole quick lowdown, just quick.
Well, we've crushed the last 2 weeks. The week before, you guys know, I crushed it on the show. Unfortunately, I didn't get to come in, take the victory laps, but that's all right. Last week we did well too. We won 4-1. We're actually one game out in super contest. We're 19-6 on our best card. So we got a shot. We're right in it again. I think all our cards are we're between 19-6 and I think our worst ones are like 15-10 maybe. So we have 6 cards between the two contests. So 19-6. Last week we were heavy on the Titans and the Chargers. We had the Cardinals. We had the Bucks. We lost on the Panthers and the Broncos. And we had the Cowboys as well. So pretty good week all in all. Our big plays. We went 2-2, but all our secondary plays we won. So, actually, no, I think our big plays we were 3-1. The Carolina was a secondary play, but I think we got hosed there anyway. I think we were on the right side of that
Carolina game was a brutal loss. Like it's almost like Tampa tonight. Like Philly just luck box 2 straight. I know they won outright last week, but 2 straight luck box weeks for Philly.
I know NFL. I know this stuff happens in the NFL often anyway, but it just feels like the first 5 weeks through here, there has been so many cruise control games through 3.5 quarters, and then you're like, what is going on over the last 6 minutes with these backdoor covers? It's been like an insane amount of them. I mean, is it just me?
Yeah, the Carolina game is like that fresh in your mind game, but yeah, there's been a few for sure, but that one sticks out.
Well, there are teams that are capable of the backdoor cover, and the Eagles are one they're just, when they're playing that, when teams are playing that prevent defense, like there's just so many lanes for Hurts to get free and do stuff versus like the Dolphins, if they're in a backdoor cover situation, what's Jacoby Brissette going to do? Like, I mean, the guy can't move, the guy can't throw. So, the Lions similar, they can backdoor cover. Goff will just air it, even though they don't have a lot of weapons, but the Bears are probably going to have a tougher time backdoor cover. And, it's just some teams are more prone to the backdoor cover than others. Are they big dogs because they stink at offense, or are they big dogs because they stink at defense? So, I mean, I think that's kind of, what you got to look at when you're looking at teams that can backdoor cover.
Yeah, for sure. Dunkel, how was the bet side for you? How'd you guys do?
Pretty good in NFL, actually. Another good week. And then Tyler just continues to smash props, and then Jay on the live side as well. And then I had a positive week in the NFL. So overall, definitely no complaints here. Sucks to kind of lose Eagles tonight in a weird way, but needless to say, looking forward to talking all these games for Sunday.
What was the side? Sure. I watched your video. I thought you won. What was your side?
Their team total over 22.5.
God, I mean, freaking Hurts is so bad.
He's not really. He's not good at football.
Like he's good fantasy wise. Like I get that, but as far as pure football, God, he's bad. Like really, really terrible.
Yeah, he can't throw. He can't.
I mean, I mentioned in the video,
accurate.
This is a lot of like throws you would consider to be easy throws, and it's like, yeah, he hits the occasional big ball or gets an occasional deep PI, but man, there is just a lot of like what look like bunnies that he can't hit, 8-yard slants, 12-yard posts. Like it's just
he's the perfect example of fantasy winning quarterback, not real life winning quarterback. He can win you games in fantasy football, but he is not a good real life quarterback.
Well, they have that stat like big time throws, and it's like that's what like Carson Wentz. People like him because he's got like big time throws. Like he does have a lot of big, but he misses the easy ones. And it's, people hate on Brady because maybe he doesn't have the greatest arm ever, and maybe he doesn't make as many big time throws like, the deep shots and stuff that some of the other teams do, but he never misses a slant. He always puts the ball in position for his receivers to excel after, they catch the ball. And guys like Wentz and Hurts, and like, they just never hit their guys in stride. Like, they never hit them on that front shoulder so they can just continue and all that stuff. So
I appreciate you sliding that Wentz take in there. Just slide it. Just needle me in there a little bit.
Yeah, we don't need
just
those
slide that little needle
show,
in.
ODB.
Don't
we
worry,
don't need those takes.
I needed the Colts on the money line that game, and that was a brutal.
How did they not hold on in that game? It's absolutely brutal.
Yeah, that one hurt. Like, that was a gut shot. So
Lamar MVP. Where's Snyder? He's probably got his pants off already.
We got to get into the slate, or we're going to be up on. Because if you get me talking about how people were sucking Lamar off, we'll be here.
Do you guys want to talk about the 9:30 a.m. game on this slate, or are we skipping that?
Who is it?
We'll skip that game. It's a shitty game.
What is it? We can at least get ODB's winner. Get his.
All right,
winner.
we'll get a winner. So we got the Dolphins, Jaguars.
Oh, the Dolphins.
Dolphins are the favorites.
I actually like this game.
Good. Give us a winner then.
I actually like the Jags in this game. The Dolphins' offensive line is absolutely atrocious. They have no ability to come back. Like, this is a spot where the Jags can get out of the country, get away from this Urban Meyer bullshit. They can just focus on football. They got a team that's hungry for a win, that finally has a team that they see as an equal. As long as Tua's not playing. This is all predicated on no Tua. Not that I love Tua or anything, but Tua versus Jacoby is pretty big. Especially, you can get it. I think it's now. I think you get the hook with that. No, it's down to 3. But if you can find the hook, especially. But I think Jacksonville has a real chance to win this game outright. And I don't think the Miami's so bad on the lines. They have a bad quarterback. I mean, what else do you need? I mean, and Jacksonville's throwing the ball around the field. I think they have a good shot.
Their quarterback is the one. If Brissette starts, he's injured. I mean, he was injured for a lot of that game last week. He hurt his hamstring, and he was still playing through it. So you're getting a bad quarterback already, and he's hurt on top of it. As long as Tua doesn't play, it does make some sense. Maybe Jacksonville will actually give their best players the football in key situations, like that 4th down and 1 when they ran Carlos Hyde up the middle. What? Like, Carlos Hyde was in for like one of the most important possessions of the whole game, and you gave the football to Carlos Hyde. What the fuck are you even thinking? Like, Dunkel, you talk about this game for a second.
Yeah, not a strong side here. First of all, they're 2 bad teams. And for one thing, I definitely don't like betting against games like this. But with that said, I do agree with ODB that I think it's very difficult to want to do anything that regards the Jaguars these days. I didn't mishear you, right? You like the laying the hook there, ODB?
No, I like the Jags.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I guess
just don't like the Dolphins.
I guess a slight disagreement, but nothing major by any means. Just seems like the Jaguars are doing everything they can to lose football games. They've been up double digits in the second half of 2 or 3 of their games so far, and obviously lost them all. Again, I can't mind the look. Jacoby Brissette looked very banged up in that Bucks game last week. And even if the fact that they're sending Tua out there makes me think that they have some concerns about Brissette, but they're definitely forcing him back early, Tua as well. So overall, I'll likely stay away. I don't know why they're choosing to put these London games like with 2 shit teams consistently. Hopefully that gets a little better as the season goes on.
Probably won't, but who knows?
I like it. I don't have to watch. I like it. Don't have to watch the first half. I can get up and watch the end. I didn't miss anything. It's perfect.
I am a little mad if you're playing. I mean, it's probably only going to be a showdown contest, but James Robinson is a really good friggin' play. ODB talked about the lines, and their defensive line is just as bad as their offensive line. And James Robinson's going to rip them apart. He'll go for over 100 yards. He'll have a touchdown, maybe 2 if they get rid of Carlos freaking Hyde at the goal line and give it to their good running back. So we'll see. but James Robinson's definitely a good play. Let's move it on, though. Enough talk about this shitty game. Let's go to a little better game, I guess. The Rams and the Giants. -10. The Rams are the favorites here. 48.5 is the total. The Giants have Slayton and Shepard apparently both practicing, so looking like they have a shot to play here. Also, Daniel Jones, who I really thought was going to struggle to play, seems like he might have a shot to play after that concussion where he got up and he was definitely dazed and couldn't really walk by himself. Stuff was coming out of his mouth. Like, it did not look like a good hit for Mr. Jones, but he's got a shot. They're saying he's got a shot that he could play. Tony, I'm going to go to you first here. What do you think of the Rams and Giants?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a tough spot for the Giants. The Rams are still one of my favorite teams. I like how they're built. I like their coach. I like everything about the Rams, even though they let me down versus Arizona a few weeks ago. The Giants, I mean, they just got decimated last week. I know some of these guys are going to play. Kadarius Toney's up to 5,600. We've kind of been on him on this show, too, all year. So it was good to see him explode. Bad to see him try to punch someone in the helmet. Never a good sign when you see your dude try to punch someone in a helmet. It's just a bad move, especially when you're going off in the game. I don't know, though.
Did you see him headbutt his coach?
Yeah, I mean, he's from Florida. I mean, that's what the Florida guys do. So it's not good there, but he was good on the field. As far as fantasy, I don't know. I could be talked into comeback with Cooper Kupp. He's cooled off a little bit since that hot start. Still 10 targets plus every single week. And I like the matchup versus the Giants too. So I could be talked into playing him. Henderson, I think Henderson's going to be one of the better plays of the week. He is getting a bunch of ownership though early when I look at the numbers, but it makes sense. 10-point favorite. I can't really see the Giants contending in this game. I don't know. I'm anxious to hear what the two bets guys think about this because, man, I don't see how the Giants hang around, but maybe I'm missing something. I don't feel much conviction, though, about anything in this game.
Let's go to man ODB. Do you got any conviction on either side of this game?
Not really. I like the Giants team overall, and I like this Rams team overall. Seems like a big number to me, but I mean, I really don't know what strength we're going to have Daniel Jones at. And I do agree with Tony. I like Kupp and I like Henderson in this game. I think Kupp probably is pretty nice play. I don't think Bradbury travels into the slot that much. So that, I mean, I think that kind of limits Woods and probably opens up Kupp more. The Rams defense hasn't been that great. So, I don't think that they can just get up and just run the clock out. So I think they will have to score some. So I think Kupp's a pretty decent play. But I don't really have a take on the game. There's too many injury questions for me on a Thursday to make a decision here.
Yeah, James Bradbury only in the slot around 10% of the time. So really is not going in the slot very often. Dunkel, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, so slight lean Giants at 9.5. To ODB's point, it's very difficult to want to bet this game or feel comfortable betting this game right now. There's a lot of question marks. And look on the Giants side of things with Daniel Jones. I mean, the dude went like completely limp last week, and like I don't know how he's back. It just doesn't even make sense. Like, I mean, the dude clearly had to have had a concussion.
He couldn't even stand. He was like falling over.
With that said, 9.5. Slight lean Giants, assuming he plays. I think you can wait though, because ultimately it really depends how key of a number you think 9 is. It's really not a key number, but it's very likely if he is ruled to play and has a full practice tomorrow, by game time, this will likely close like 8.5, where you can end up teasing the Rams down. If he gets ruled out, this likely spikes to like 10.5, 11. So you could probably sit on it regardless. And again, if you like the Rams, to me, you're under 10 now. So, now's probably a better time to bet it. But again, if Jones does get ruled out, you'll be able to tease this right down to 2.5, because if Jones gets ruled in, you'll be able to tease this down. But again, at this point, I'm with ODB. I don't like betting it now, but this might be a spot that if I feel confident based on the news that Daniel Jones is close to 100% somehow, I think there's value on the Giants here at 9.5.
I do.
How the hell
on,
is he 100%? I don't get that.
on Dunkel's point, I think if you like the Rams, I think bet it now. And if you like the Giants, you can wait. I don't think that the line is going to move down if Daniel Jones plays. I think this line is kind of set on Daniel Jones playing. So if you like the Rams, get it now. You're not really going to get that much of a discount if it comes out confirmed he plays. But if he doesn't, I don't think it's going to be 10.5. I think it creeps up to like 12.5. I mean, did you watch Glennon? I mean, the guy's a freaking disaster. So that I think if you like the Rams, play it now. And if you like the Giants, just go ahead and wait. That if it gets down to 9 or 8.5, it's not that big a deal. It doesn't matter.
All right. That's a good call. From a DFS side, I mean, Daryl Henderson's probably the best play on the board from a DFS side. Giants got gashed a little bit last week, obviously, against the Cowboys. Cowboys are a very, very efficient run team, though. But so are the Rams, and Daryl Henderson, when he's fully healthy, is seeing the majority of the work. And we saw it, last week. He's 6K too. The one thing I also am thinking on this slate is we're going to get a lot of good running backs and a lot of good positions. Some running backs are going to be really cheap, though. What's going to happen is I think Daryl Henderson is right now maybe popping and really popular, but he could end up taking a hit in ownership when we start to actually realize how many running backs there are that are cheaper and then decent running backs, around his price tag. I think his ownership is actually going to come down slightly as the week goes on, because we just got the Damian Williams news today with him going out. We're going to have a very chalky spot there. We got a few other guys like the Chiefs situation with cheap guys. There are spots. So this running back pool is going to be really interesting because I like a lot of running backs this week. And I'm going to say, I love Daryl Henderson, but I think there are other guys in that price range that are just as good of plays. And if we're going to get a major ownership difference, then I'll just pivot to them. But I'm not certain that it's going to just be Daryl Henderson is going to be really popular by the time the week gets to Sunday and people are starting to play with having ownership on a bunch of these different players. So that's where I stand. I think if I play anyone, it's him.
You also got, what do you think about Booker? What do you think about Booker at 5,400? He's going to be in that Barkley 3-down back role, and he catches the ball. And, if they get down, I could see him catching screen passes. He should get the red zone work.
Here's the problem,
relatively cheap.
Are you going to play him, though, over Christian McCaffrey? If Christian McCaffrey's in, then obviously Chuba is not in play, but Chuba Hubbard is, he's 5'9". You got, who else in that range? Oh, Khalil Herbert is 4'6". Daryl Williams, what is he? He's got to be in the 4Ks too. He's 4'9". Are you playing him over those type of guys?
No, it's just a question, just a guy that you could put into your player pool.
I mean, I'm kind of with ODB where I don't think people are going to play him is the thing. And for whatever reason, I always like these drop down backs when I know they're going to lose, because they're just going to get so many dump offs that it's almost like how I like Henderson in the favorite spot in this game. If I get a runner, I want him. It sounds simple, but a lot of people won't do it. You could even play them together too, where you play Henderson and Booker. If the Rams win by 3 touchdowns, you're going to hit them from both directions, and you might hit ceilings from both guys. Yeah, I get what you're saying too, JSU, where those other plays technically are better plays. I'm not saying they're not. But when we're playing 150 teams or something, you can definitely play some Booker, especially with Henderson, because if you bank the script, you're going to do good with it.
People aren't realizing how good this 6K range is. I think because all these Q tags,
jam the range for sure.
All we see are Q tags up and down the 6K
and you don't have
board.
guys like Henry on the slate, so everyone's going to be in the 6K range.
Right, but I'm saying I think it's going to spread out the ownership in the 6K range more than people are talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in love with him. I'm just saying if you want to include him in your pool or wanted to differentiate, he's a guy with a ceiling at a low price tag.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a trailing game script, right? For sure with him.
Right.
I mean, if you think the
close out.
Giants are somehow going to win, I definitely don't like him near as much.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
I think they're going to lose, and it's a
Yeah.
trailing game script, which I prefer him in. I honestly wouldn't like him as much, to be honest with you. So, all right, let's move on.
Please don't play Kadarius Toney too, by the way, this week. Do not chase him. I like him as much as anyone. With Shepard and Slayton maybe playing too. You can't pay $5,600 for Kadarius Toney this week, even if those guys somehow don't play. Please don't do
good off of a bunch of guys getting injured. I mean,
he's all. I like him as a talent.
He did look really good.
I like him as a talent. I do. I just don't. I mean, 5,600 against this Rams team. I do not. I mean, I just could never do that.
How do you bench that guy though after?
Well, they're not going to bench him. I mean, they drafted him in the first round, right? You're the one that I said second round. You came back and said first round.
I mean, like play him less, like they were doing before.
He's going to play.
All those guys got injured. Yeah. I hope so. All right, let's go to the Vikings and the Panthers here. Vikings -2.5, 45.5 is the total. This game's in Carolina. We got the news. I think the coach came out and said, Matt Rule came out and said Christian McCaffrey is 50-50 to play this week. So still unsure on him. So obviously, that's news we're going to have to wait on. But if he's out, Chuba Hubbard looked pretty good last week off of a down week from a DFS side, I would say 2 weeks ago when everyone was on him. Looked pretty good. ODB, what do you think of this game?
I mean, I think McCaffrey means more than a lot of running backs. I mean, you see the Carolina offense has just had trouble scoring without him in there. I mean, they didn't score much against the Texans. They couldn't score much against the Eagles. That even though the Eagles have a pretty good defensive line, they give up a lot of points. I mean, I think McCaffrey is a difference maker, but I like the Vikings. I still think the Vikings are a good team. I'm not falling for the fact that they let the Lions, almost catch them while they were sleeping at the end of the game. I mean, that game could have easily ended Vikings up by 2 touchdowns. I mean, they had the ball and they had a touchdown lead. I just think they just got lulled to sleep. I don't think that'll happen here. I think the Vikings are just better in every regard. I kind of like the Vikings in the spot, especially if McCaffrey's out.
Justin Jefferson also is questionable to play. That was one other thing I forgot. Didn't practice today, so we'll see where he's at tomorrow. JJ, what do you think of this game? ODB likes the Vikings a little bit.
Yeah, so I will say this is the typical game that the Vikings find a way to win. Typically, after a disappointing win, this team, under Zimmer at least, normally bounces back in a much more positive way. And
are you representing the Vikings with that hat? I mean, not to interrupt you, but is that a Vikings lid?
That's a Vikings
lid.
That. Yeah. So with that said, I do think that this is a very good teaser game. It is hard to imagine the Vikings on the road beat this team by more than 7. But yes, I had some real issues with the way that game played out last week, as ODB mentioned. I was pretty heavy on Vikings survivor-wise, bet-wise. That was a difficult game to watch from a coaching perspective. And sure, Madison banged them late with that fumble, but they were still going to get the ball back with an opportunity to score and tie it after a punt. So to me, they were conservative when they shouldn't have been. They were aggressive when they shouldn't have been. It was just a very oddly coached game. But like I said, under this Zimmer regime, I've seen this where it almost seems like they were underprepared for a game that they should have won by a lot. They come out the next week and they look like just a more well-oiled machine. What I will say about this Vikings team is Kirk Cousins is playing way too well for this team to be barely 2-3. So it is a bit painful considering the defense was supposed to be better than they performed. But then again, Darnold's kind of showing his true colors again. He's kind of streaking in a negative way coming into this one. So he's been a different quarterback without McCaffrey. Assuming McCaffrey, even if he plays banged up, does make a difference. This will be a game I will tease, but I'm not sure if I want to back the Vikes because I don't love the line. But this is a game that they should bounce back and win accordingly.
Yeah, Tony, Dalvin Cook should be back. He practiced in full today. That's a plus for the Vikings, I would say, for their team. But what do you think about this game? And then what do you think about maybe even Dalvin for DFS?
Yeah, I mean, this game looks super trappy. I mean, I can't believe Minnesota's favored on the road, honestly. But and then I look more at it, and it's just like the Minnesota players are probably better. So I kind of agree with you guys. It looks like a good teaser game. Carolina, I mean, tease it up to 8.5 or whatever number you get in that range. Fantasy wise, though, outside of McCaffrey, I don't see anything I like. I mean, I'm fine with Jefferson and these guys if Jefferson plays. DJ Moore looks like a decent play, but I think Minnesota's defense is better than people think they are. I think Carolina's defense is better. We got a low total. I don't really see a reason to go to this game. I mean, we have totals higher. We got better environments. And this game's going to get – some of these guys will get ownership. If McCaffrey plays, I'll have a hard time not playing him just because I just think he's a stud, 8,800 against Minnesota. I think that's a really good spot. But I'm not certain he plays. I mean, he didn't practice today from what I've saw. I don't know. I bet he doesn't play. I'm definitely not playing the back. Well, what's the backup's name? I'm drawing Chuba. I'm definitely not playing Chuba. I mean, I don't like that spot for him. I think I'm just going to play the teaser in this game. I don't like anything DFS wise.
I think Dunkel made a good point. Like if you look at the Vikings historically, they always seem to perform when they have, a tight game and, a game of equal teams, they always seem to perform. Where they underperform is when they're touchdown favorites. That's when they always seem to shit the bed. They did against the Lions. They did so against the Bills a couple years ago, and they had like 17-point favorites they lost. That happens more times than not. And I kind of disagree. I don't think I'd play McCaffrey. Even if he plays, I don't know if he'll be in for a full-time role. And for 8,800, you really got to get everything out of him. I'd rather spend up for somebody else. Chubb has already proved that he can play some. So I think, instead of him being 90-10 like he normally is, I think McCaffrey might even roll like 65-35 or something like that. And you can't get 8,800 with a ceiling with that.
Yeah, I will say when the coach comes out and says 50-50 chance, I mean, if he just slightly doesn't feel right, they're not going to play him. So like to me, I lean more highly questionable if the coach is coming out saying this dude's got a 50% chance of playing on Thursday and he doesn't practice on Thursday as well. That worries me a little bit more. So I wouldn't play McCaffrey though in DFS. The only person that sticks out to me, Adam Thielen's 5,800.
That price is cheap. I was looking at that price.
What happened? 5,800 for Adam Thielen? That to me looks like a trap. Who said it was a trap spot? Because Adam Thielen at 5,800 seems like the DFS trap.
That's the name of the game in DFS too, right? Like sometimes it shouldn't matter the name in theory. When they're cheap enough, we should play them, and when they're too expensive, we shouldn't play them, no matter who it is. And I think Thielen might be reaching that because I'm not a Thielen guy either. But 5,800 for a guy that has red zone value, that might be the price point for me. The 6K barrier might be the number for Thielen.
Not only that, but if Jefferson's banged up, you might get more looks. I mean, you got the same price. Him and Tony are the same price.
Yeah, great point. Like him and Tony are the same damn price. Like, how could you play Kadarius Toney over Adam Thielen?
This is what I love to do too. I always look at the players around the guy that I'm like stunned at from a pricing standpoint. So listen to these players: Marquise Brown, Brandon Cooks, Kenny Galladay's out or doubtful, Kadarius Toney, Michael Pittman, Jacoby Myers, Tyler Boyd, Allen Robinson, T. Higgins. I mean, Adam Thielen sounds like one of the better plays out of all those guys.
There's a lot of good names in that group, though, as you were reading those guys. I like a lot of those guys.
I think the only one that sticks out to me that's better might be the Pittman Cooks combo.
You named off quite a few guys that are good in that range. I'll tell you that much as we go through.
Allen Robinson's is a clear number one on a team that should be behind. That's not that bad either.
Okay.
What about my boy Jacoby Myers? You know I'm coming back with Jacoby versus Dallas.
Yeah, that's not bad either.
He gets freaking 15 targets a week. They peppered the dude.
Yeah,
that's a pretty nice tier.
I was getting more excited with each name he read out. I'm like, can I play all of them?
I can't do the Myers. I just can't do the Patriots.
Well, it's probably smart. I got on the Jacoby bandwagon, so it's tough for me to get off, but it's probably smart just to not ever be on it.
As a New England person, I've lived in New England. I faded the Patriots ever since that damn live final a couple of years ago where they absolutely shoved it right up my backside. I was telling ODB a little bit about it before, but I haven't played a Patriot since then, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm just fading the Patriots forever. Tony, they never get it done for us in fantasy.
I hate New England, so you don't have to sell me on it.
All right.
JSU doesn't play too many 5K wide receivers because he's playing all the dust at running back on every slate. And he has extra money.
What's when the dust goes for 100 and a touchdown? What are we even talking about here?
JSU just piles up 8 and 9K wide receivers every week to go along with his dust at running back.
All right, well, let's talk about, you guys want to talk about the Chicago offense. The passing offense has been dust. And let's go to that game right now. The Bears and the Packers, -5.5. Packers are the favorites here. They're on the road in Chicago. 44 is the total. ODB, I mean, you would think in this game with Aaron Rodgers on the other side, it would set up where the Bears won't be able to just run the football and run the clock out, and they'll actually have to let Justin Fields throw a little bit. But, we'll have to see. What do you think of this game?
I kind of like the Packers in this game. I haven't really been big on the Packers all year, but I think this is the kind of team that they match up pretty well against. I think the Packers, when they have teams that can score with them, they have a little trouble, like Cincinnati. But when they have a team that can't go blow for blow with them, I mean, you're just not going to stop this Green Bay offense. I think that's a little false hope for Chicago fans last week. They caught this Vegas team, in the middle of the whole Gruden controversy. I think it was just sleepy team, right time. And the Packers are not going to be sleepy at all. And I don't trust Justin Fields at all. I do trust the Packers enough that I think they're going to score. They can score 27 against anybody, basically. I don't think the Bears can get to 20. So give me Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in this one. I feel pretty good about it. Not a far place to travel to with Chicago.
I don't blame you. I feel pretty good about that call too. I like it. Dunkel, are we going to make it 3 for 3 on the Aaron Rodgers Packers bandwagon here?
Yeah, I definitely can't back the Bears in any sense here. They're for 3 and 2. They're a complete facade. They beat a Raiders team, which I agree with ODB was like lifeless. It was just a weird game from them. The Lions is on their record as well, along with the Bengals. Bengals a decent win, but they barely got it. And then, of course, they lost to the Browns and Rams on the road. So it's not like this team has like a bad loss, because that's definitely not the case. But they will get a real competition here, and they're going to have to keep pace. And I think that's where the real struggle comes into. I am somebody who has enjoyed backing Green Bay team totals under when they're 28-ish. They did pad this one at 25, so I'm staying far away from it. Because I've had some question marks about this offense this year. But with that said, at 25.5, I definitely can't play that under. So yeah, I'm definitely on the side of the Bears. I likely will not bet this game though, but I definitely am not stepping up to the window to back the Bears in this game. And to be honest, I guess a question for you guys back: who is going to the window with Bears plus 4.5 in this game? I don't even know who would.
Yeah, Tony, I wouldn't. I mean, this sets up as a clear game where Aaron Rodgers is going to put the pressure on the rookie to have to throw the ball to get them back into the game. And even against this banged up secondary that the Packers have, I don't know if he can do it for 4 quarters. Like, I don't think so.
Kinley Jansen just nasty out there. We got a baseball game going to the 9th. No, these just to give credit where it's due. I always give you guys credit when I think you're sharp. I think ODB has helped me with games like this, just being super sharp. In the past, I've always bet the Bears in this spot, like always. I've said this all year on this show. I think ODB's helped me with this, so I'll give him credit. I bet the Bears last week. I don't know. Oh, they beat the Raiders. You guys just said. I had the Bears and I had the money line last week, but this week it's another spot where I would normally take them, but I think ODB's taught me sometimes it is just that easy. It looks easy. No one's going to bet the Bears. We all agree on that. I mean, no one's going to against Green Bay, but it might just be the right thing to do. Just go bet Green Bay and get your money in this game because the Bears suck. So I'm no longer just betting the sharp side every time because the sharp side doesn't win every time. Sometimes the squares win. It's okay. And I like the Packers here. I'm with ODB. So now after discussing that, where can we go DFS wise? Last week, we were all over Devontae Chalk. He was 40-50% owned, nuked the slate, just like we said he would. I don't know about this week, though. I mean, I'm going to play him every week, like I say, but he's not necessarily as much of a core piece this week for me. 9K. I don't think you need it as much. I'll just say that. If he ends up on my team because there's all these cheap guys, absolutely. I have no problem playing him any week for the rest of the time. I'll be okay with it. But I'm not going to force him in like I was last week. Herbert, though, even though I don't like the Bears, 4,600 for a running back that's going to get all the work is interesting to me. I mean, 4,600, that's cheap. That's very, very cheap. The bad part about it is he named off all those receivers in the 5K range. We talked about some running backs in the 5K range as well. You might not need to go that cheap this week. We don't have Henry on the slate. I just said I don't love Adams. It could just be a mid-range week, honestly. You could but that being said, everyone might go that way too. Maybe we pivot onto like a Devontae stud scrub build with like Herbert in there too. But for the most part, I'm just going to bet the Packers. I don't see a ton else in this game. Last week, I fell to the trap too of playing Rodgers with 2 receivers. I mean, these other guys are so dusty. Cobb, Lazard, even Tanyan is pretty dusty. I fell for it last week. I should have just played Rodgers and Adams and been done with it. I'm not falling for that trap again. I'm not playing these dust balls anymore this year, these secondary guys. It's either Aaron Jones, it's Devontae, or it's nothing for Green Bay.
I agree there.
So one thing I will say with DFS is I think we're going to see a lot of Devontae, Khalil Herbert, like secondary stacks. Like that's how people are going to
People can't play Herbert this week.
Khalil Herbert?
They can't.
What do you mean? They're not going to play him?
There's just too many good cheap guys.
He's 4,600.
I know. He can't be owned, though. I'm just telling you, he can't be owned.
No.
We can get a wager. Like, he's just not going to be. There's no way.
Khalil Herbert, the running back for the Bears, the only guy they got left besides Ryan Neal or Null.
I mean, he's not going to be over 10%. No way.
I don't mind if people play him. He's going to get 10 points. He's going to run 13 times for 40 yards, 4 catches for 26 yards and no TDs.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, ODB. I'm just letting you know the number. He got 18 touches on 54% of the snaps.
They won though.
They
won.
I understand that.
Versus the Raiders.
He's gonna play.
If they win this week, if you said the Bears win this week,
no, they're not gonna win.
Absolutely, I'm playing him.
But he is gonna be the running back in the game for majority of this game. Like at least.
I just don't think there's gonna be any offense though. I don't think he's gonna be owned though either. Like I don't think there's any way he's 10%.
Oh, I'll take the over on that. And I was gonna say that I think Darnell Mooney, because Justin Fields is going to be trailing at 4.3K, I think he's a really good, like, millie maker dart. I'm not going to say he's like just an amazing play, like play him, in your single entry or whatever the lineups, but in the millie maker specifically, 4.3K, Justin Fields has shown a rapport with them and he's shown big playability with Justin Fields. I think he's the one who's sneaky because they're not going to be able to get away with letting Justin Fields throw the ball 17 to 20 times in this game. because they're not going to be winning the entire game. That's the only reason why he hasn't thrown the ball more. Now they're going to be in a game where they're going to trail probably the entire game against Aaron Rodgers, and it's going to force Justin Fields to throw the ball down the field. And with Jair Alexander out for a few weeks, that is going to, the secondary is very banged up, and it's going to help Justin Fields out a little bit to where somebody from this receiver core, either him or Allen Robinson, will probably have a decent day. So I'm not saying Justin Fields will have a good day, but I do think one of these receivers gets it done in the end. Could be Mooney, could be Robinson. Robinson's the better overall receiver, but I do think Mooney at 4.3K is an interesting tournament play. Allen Robinson is too, but I'll take the 1,000 cheaper guy as of now. Anything else from a DFS side before I move on?
I'd much rather have Allen Robinson than that scrub running back for a few hundred more. Personally,
Yeah.
I mean,
Tell
I
him,
think,
ODB, get on.
I mean,
too.
Allen Robinson's got talent. Allen Robinson, they could be behind 2 touchdowns early in this game, and Allen Robinson could get 10 targets. This scrub running back, no thanks.
I would too. I would rather both of these receivers over the running back. That's my point, is I would pivot to the one of these wide receivers over the running back. But Tony doesn't think he's going to be owned, and I disagree. I think everyone's just going to plug him in.
Well, we
What's
gotta
he
see
going
how
to be
the
on
rest
then?
is.
Throw a number out there just so I can laugh at you next week.
15%.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. It's that
I'm
bad?
going to write it down just so I always forget these. I'm going to write it down just so I can
Write it
remember
down.
to make fun of you.
Yeah, like you forgot to make fun of Tambo. Write it down.
I always
so you-
forget.
Yeah,
I'm glad
but
you-
for
I'm glad
JSU,
he
you don't
reminded
even
me.
need to write it down.
Did we go off on this show about that, Duckle? A 4,900 defense that people were playing? Imagine playing a 4,900 defense.
I mean, yeah, JSU was mentioning it for that. But here's the thing.
I did make fun of JSU on this show. I do remember now. He was
Well,
talking him up on this show.
Well,
he tried to hide from me. Thank you,
I didn't.
Duckle.
No, time out. I reversed course right when I found out the entire Patriots offensive line was out. I liked Houston. Houston was my defense.
That's probably why I
once
didn't
found
remember
that
making
out.
fun of you.
That's why, because I reversed course on it. JSU
ODB,
is
you
smart
weren't
with
here last
ownership.
week. These
Thank
people were
you,
talking
West
up
Coast
a
Jam.
4,900 defense on the
No.
road in a dome.
No, stop it, Tony. This is my time right now. West Coast Gem just called me smart, and I'm smart with ownership. I'm just going to take the JSU as smart. I'm going to run with that. Thank you, West Coast Gem. I appreciate you. Tony, be quiet. All right. This show's going to go 4 hours.
This baseball
My
game's
dinner's-
about to get nuts while we're on this show. Max
Yeah,
Scherzer's
we need
warming
this
up in
game.
the bullpen.
We need this baseball game to get over so we can get fully entrenched in this.
I know
football
it's
talk.
we got Scherzer warming up, but this is getting good.
ODB's
You got any?
the
You got anything on
Dodgers.
this? You got anything on this?
I
Tony?
mean, my baseball teams have to be good.
I got.
Tony, did you bet the game?
I did not bet the game. Well, actually, I got unders. Unders is the only thing I bet. Actually,
Oh,
I think I did bet the Giants. Actually, I don't know why. I kind of like the Dodgers. I know I got unders though. I got a bunch of unders.
I got Dodgers. I got Dodgers for the game. I got Dodgers to win the World Series. I need them to win this.
If they
game.
can get by this game, you're going to be sitting tasty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about another game, Arizona and Cleveland. I think this game is going to be tasty from, for sure, a real life football standpoint, because we got two of the better teams in football, in my opinion. 3.5 is the spread. Browns are the favorites here in Cleveland. 49 is the total. Dunkel, let's go to you here. I think you were the one who made fun of me the least about my Cleveland prediction earlier in the season. So I'm going to go to you on this. How about my Browns? I mean, they gave the Chargers everything they could handle.
Oh, you're taking moral victories on this show now?
No.
Oh, you're not
Stop.
taking moral victories.
All I'm going to say is the Cleveland Browns have played really well to start.
You just tried to take a
Baker-
moral victory.
Hold on. Baker Mayfield has been injured. Odell Beckham is coming back. Jarvis
going back to the
Landry is going
baseball
to be
game.
back soon. I mean, Tony, my Cleveland Browns are going to come for you when it's playoff time. I can't wait for it. Dunkel, talk about this game of my Browns.
The Browns are 3-2 off a recent defensive performance where they looked like, completely terrible in JSU. Those are the type of moral losses.
Wait a second, Dunkel. They were terrible.
They're in third place in their division.
They were terrible. It was 23-13 in the third quarter.
They're in third place in their division, and you just tried to victory lap it.
Stop, Tony. Okay, fine. You want to make a bet? I guarantee you they will not be in third or fourth place by the end of the year.
No, this
Tony.
is like a Pensac bet. Come on, Pensac.
Bet me.
No, this is a Pensac bet.
You don't want the smoke because you know Cleveland, they're coming. I mean, they've had to play the Chargers, the Chiefs. They've had a tough schedule.
I'm just simply pointing out that you tried to take a moral victory on the show after they gave up a 50-piece last week.
Okay, at least they gave it up to Justin Herbert and one of the best
Another
offenses
moral
in football.
victory. You can't keep taking moral victories.
I mean, come on. It was Justin Herbert and one of the best offenses in football.
I just like they gave up 47 fucking points.
All right, fine, Dunkel. Talk shit. You're on my list too.
That Browns loss where they gave up 47 points. Those are the type of season building losses. you go back to the.
I can't wait to ODB put the final trench in you.
You guys know that GIF of the guy just writing shit down? That's what I'm doing right now. I'm that guy right now. I'm just writing everyone's name down. Don't talk about this game.
It was a Madden game. Anyway, so
they gave up a 50-piece.
Anyway, so speaking on bets, JSU last week, I did tell you I would come back with two potential MVP candidates to go against your Kyla Murray play. I want Herbert and I want Josh Allen.
How you like them apples, JSU?
All right. Well, I'm actually a little worried about Kyler, not because of the names you put out, because Tony,
big belly, we got a Dodgers lead.
Tony jinxed them by saying the guy never stays healthy, and he picked up a shoulder injury week.
That wasn't a jinx. The dude is a midget.
We talked about last week. The dude breaks down.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally not built for the season.
He jinxed them, but I'll still ride with them. I don't back away. I don't back away from the smoke, the Dunkel smoke.
I like it.
But continue.
Yeah. So this game here, I mean, look, to me, it's all about Kyler's status, right? I think that 3.5 is a fat number for the Cardinals. Not the fact that they're undefeated, but I continue to say that I love this team with Kingsbury early in the season. They've looked the part in every way. I mean, granted, of course, they had these random hiccups in quarters and such where, you're kind of like wondering what this team's doing. But offensively, the scariest part was last week when Kyler got banged up. This offense looked completely different with him almost like afraid to run. If you're going to get that same version of Kyler, it's likely going to be a Cleveland win. And look, I love Stefanski. Like what he's done. I mean, that coaching matchup last week between him and Staley from the Chargers, two young coaches. You figure they're going to have long careers, but this spot here, I can't lay the hook with Cleveland. I'd probably slightly lean Arizona. I actually believe I'd prefer the under at sub 50, especially if Kyler's not 100%, because Cleveland's going to try to ground and pound here. And it's not like Arizona's been terrible on the defensive end. But if Kyler's healthy and you're going to get another potential shootout, I'd want no part of it. So that's why I'm going to stay away. I think there's too many question marks around who I'd argue is the most critical player in the game, both teams combined in Kyler Murray. But gun to my head, I would definitely take the 3.5 with Arizona or the under 49.5.
God, I'm just looking at this Cleveland Browns schedule. I'm just, oh God, Tony, you don't know what you're in for a big mistake calling out my Cleveland Browns. They're coming to put a hurting on you.
They better, JSU. They better win this game.
They're coming.
They're coming. They lose next week. What is it going to be? Yeah, I mean, you guys see how good the Browns look?
No. Listen, I'll tell you right now. First of all, Arizona is. I know you guys make fun of Kyler Murray can't stay healthy, whatever. Arizona is a good football team. They got a solid defense. Their offense. They have pieces everywhere. 2 running backs. That's a good football team. They played the Chiefs, and the Chargers, obviously 2 really good football teams, lost to those guys, but won when they needed to, took care of business when they needed to against Chicago, Minnesota, Houston. They're going to come. I mean, they got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, New England, Detroit, all in a row. Yes, please, wins, 4-0 right there. That's a 4-0 stretch right there. Then they got Baltimore. You guys actually believe in Baltimore? That mirage of a team? I mean, they should have lost against the Colts. The Colts suck, and they should have lost against them. I mean, that was awful.
Your team should be winning. You said they're the best in the AFC.
Yeah, I said write it down. Them and I said them.
So they got to be better than the Chargers. They got to be better than the Bills. They got to be better than these teams.
They will be when they win the friggin' AFC.
During this segment, the Chargers just scored 2 more touchdowns against the Browns.
Good luck stopping Nick Chubb when it comes playoff time. All you guys keep making fun of him. Kareem Hunt will just score 2 more. Nick Chubb will score 2.
I will say one thing about this week too. If Chubb somehow misses, I know he hasn't practiced. Like Hunt would be another incredible 6K play against Arizona with the full workload.
ODB, you got something for us?
I got a lot. I was just listening to the Cleveland fan club here. I didn't know that this was a Cleveland radio station. And
the
watching
Cleveland
my
fan club population 1.
Yeah. I'm just
population JSU.
My buddy labeled Cody Bellinger years ago when he first started. He was, anytime he would send me a text, he would hashtag man crush because I just loved Cody. And it's nice to see him get a clutch hit. He hadn't had one all fucking year. So
he made up for it in a hurry though with one big poke there if they end up winning.
That was big. I got Dodgers all over the place.
2-1's a perfect final too. Let's lock that. Is Max going to come in the 9th or is Kenley going to go one more?
No, it's Max.
Did they already pull Kenley?
No, yeah. I don't know, but Max is warmed up. He's not warmed up for the fuck of it.
It's his empty day though. So I think it was depending on if they pinch hit Kenley here.
Whatever you want. I'll bet whatever you want. This is Max.
Well, we're about to know because his hitting spot's up. So if they pull,
it's Matt Beatty. Yeah, he's out. On this game, I mean, the Browns are smart. I mean, that was such a smart game between Staley and Stefanski. Like these teams are going to be around for a while. I mean, get used to the Browns being good and the Chargers for sure. I think this is a pretty good spot for Cleveland, actually. I liked it a lot better when it was 2.5 than 3.5 now. But Arizona's coming off of wins against the Rams and the Niners. We know in the NFL it's tough to get up every week. 2 division opponents. Now you're traveling to an AFC team, a hard-nosed, physical team. One of my big things that has really helped me succeed the last couple of years in picking football games is not being stubborn. And, I didn't love Arizona to start, but I'm not going to be stubborn on that. And I had them last week against the Niners. I think they're a lot better than I thought to begin the year. So this isn't an anti-Cards thing, but I think this is just a bad spot for them. I think Cleveland is really in a good situation off those 2 big wins for the Cardinals, being to be at home. This is an early game, right? So we got a West Coast team playing an early game. I think the Browns are physical. I mean, they're just a physical team, and I kind of like them here. I don't love it at 3.5. I mean, if you can get it at 3, like I feel a lot better about it than 3.5. But I think this is a good spot for the Browns.
Yeah, I'm with you, and you guys know I've been a bigger Cardinals fan on the show. Name someone who's been a bigger Arizona Cardinals tout than JSU on this show. Name somebody. You can't, but I've been a bigger Cleveland Browns tout. That's the problem. So I will say one thing. If Nick Chubb is out, I know running backs don't matter and all that bullshit, but that 2-headed monster of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt is it's painful from a fantasy side because we gotta it's pretty much split, but those 2 fucking guys are so good. It's just, you don't get a break when you're the opposing team. I mean, there is no break. Like Nick Chubb just goes through them.
Yes,
Like,
we know you love
runs
the
right
Browns.
through. Yeah, and they're gonna run right through. They're gonna run right through Arizona. But if Nick Chubb is out, I honestly think he means that much to this team with no Jarvis Landry. Odell looks like shit. Like
Mayfield
I think
looks
he
like
means
shit.
that much.
Hey, I would like to make one prediction that I feel very, very confident with. No matter what way this game turns out, JSU is going to be doing victory laps because it's either the Cardinals, I told you how good they were, or the Browns, how good I told you they were.
I mean, come on. I seriously,
sure.
you guys were all blowing the Rams. I mean, Tony was calling for their Super Bowl bound already. And that thing fell through. We haven't heard about the Rams since they got smacked up by the Kyla Murray in Arizona. I mean, they literally they were laughing at them in the
They still got a better record than
Cleveland.
Challenge.
Tony,
they thought it was going to be a challenge.
Which victory lap was more entertaining? This recent victory lap or the 4,600 Javonte Williams who had two carries for 7 yards, where JSU was like,
"Hey, watch it. He might be a play this week. Well, you better watch out."
Big week, he's just like, yeah. So Javonte was a great call. Javonte was a great call last week at 4,100. He had 2 carries for 7 yards. What more could you want? What more?
Oh God! All right. Any DFS plays, Tony? Did you give any?
I mean, Hunt. If Chubb's out, I like Hunt. But besides that, I'm done with Beckham. I can't play him anymore. I gotta give up on the Beckham thing.
Too.
Yeah, I gotta give up on him no matter what, unless he's literally like in the 3Ks or something. Even if he was like 4,200, I don't think I could play him. He's just been Baker's looked bad and he's looked bad. I don't think they like each other. I'm off the Beckham train, and I'm with you guys though on Cleveland. I think Cleveland's the best play of the week as far as betting. I don't like it DFS wise because I probably like the under. But with Kyler banged up, with everything, Cleveland's physical, everything you guys said, I think Cleveland definitely my favorite bet of the week.
I'm going to give you one other play. Rondale Moore at 4.6K. Kyler Murray has a shoulder issue. One thing that affected him last year when he had that shoulder issue was he wasn't throwing the ball as much down the field. His ADOT went significantly down from where it was before he got the shoulder injury. He does have another shoulder injury. It could affect maybe him throwing the ball down the field a little bit more, and maybe they do more shorter passes. And what I saw in that game last week, they're already starting to slowly phase out Christian Kirk a little bit and bring in a little more Rondale Moore. He's playing a little bit more. And I think if they do more shorter passes, that's going to mean more Rondale Moore on the field, because they like Christian Kirk for a lot of those deep passes, a lot of those deep plays. They use Rondale Moore as like that Swiss Army knife where they want to get him out in space, get him the ball, and then let him create the offense. So if Kyler Murray is hampered by the shoulder injury, it could mean more time on the field for Rondale. So I really like Rondale Moore at 4.6K. It's cheap price tag, and the kid is a stud. I know he doesn't play a ton, but I think he's slowly creeping up, and he got right around like almost 50% of the snaps last week. And it could go higher if Kyler's, hampered and they need to throw the ball, shorter. So that's one play I like for sure. I like the Kareem Hunt call as well. Let's go on to another game. Let's talk about the big game, KC and the Washington football team. This is going to be a big game from the DFS side for sure, but KC's -6.5. 54.5 is the total. This game is in Washington. ODB, let's start with you on this game. What do you think from a betting side?
I would I lean the Redskins, and yeah, they're the Redskins to me. Sorry. I lean Washington in this game. Kansas City just can't stop anybody, and I think Washington has enough to keep the ball and move it down the field. And I mean, I'm fine to play everybody in this game. This has just Sorry, I'm just distracted by
We got a battle going
flying
during
out,
the show
sorry.
here at 12:30 in the morning. We got a total battle. The two best teams in baseball going at it.
I like Washington. I like Heineke. I like Terry. I like Seals Jones. I like, if you want to play Kansas City parts, obviously. I like this game from DFS. I like the Washington team. Normally, I'm not afraid to lay a touchdown in these games that are like high scoring. But I mean, I think Washington can win this game. I don't think Kansas City is great. I mean, I think they've lost a little luster. Nice error there by JT.
Bad play.
Anyway,
so
sorry, we're a little distracted by this.
So
baseball
ODB,
game.
you like Washington to cover?
I like Washington. I like the over.
You like the over. I like the over as well. Dunkel, what do you think? ODB likes Washington side and the over.
Yeah, so one of my favorite bets this week, and it's correlated to you guys as well, is Washington's team total. So it's 23.5. I mean, man, it is tough not to like that over. Kansas City's given up, 30 to every team they've played this year, except the Browns, who scored 29. But, JSU says they're the greatest team ever. No, so look, the thing with the Chiefs is things will get a little easier for them, but not much. I mean, it wasn't talked about too much early in the season. This team's schedule's brutal. I mean, sure, they're 2-3, and there's all these question marks about how they've regressed tremendously defensively. And sure, those numbers are there and objective, but look, the Browns, Ravens, Chargers, at Philly, Bills, now at Washington, at Tennessee the week after. I mean, this is not an easy. I mean, their only cruise control game is going to be at home against the Giants in a few weeks. And then it's Packers, at Raiders, Cowboys. I mean, the Chiefs' schedule sucks this year. And so I don't necessarily think they're getting enough credit there in terms of strength of schedule. From a strength of schedule perspective, just to put it into full season mode, Miami has had the second toughest schedule in the NFL this year. And based on numbers wise, Kansas City actually has had twice as hard of a schedule as Miami, who's had the second hardest schedule in the NFL. So yes, this is your team you expect to make the Super Bowl under this regime with Reed and Mahomes and such. But they haven't been fortunate. And look, they have a tremendous amount of issues on the defensive end. And the idea that you can get almost any team in the NFL, even a team that's got a semi-potent offense in Washington, to go over 23.5, basically every team seems to score 3 or 4 touchdowns against this Kansas City group. And Kansas City will at least score, so it's going to put pressure on Washington to have to score anyway. Yeah, 23.5 team total. Washington, really like it. And yeah, it'll be one of my favorite bets of the weekend.
This is the same. This is the same game, real quick. That, I mean, 2 weeks ago, Kansas City went to Philly and they were 6.5, and now they're 6.5 against Washington. And I mean, I think Washington is a much better team than Philly. I think. I mean, I like this Washington team a lot more than I like this Eagle team.
Oh, what happened, Tony?
I thought Lamont Wade just took Max deep. It took my breath away for a minute.
We're good though. We're good. You're all right. Can you talk
We
about
gotta
this
talk.
game?
I mean, we're doing a freaking NFL show on a Thursday night at 12:30 Eastern, and we got a downright battle going in baseball. And
we just need a
looked at all my
play
bets. I got under 3.5, 4.5. We're sitting on all winners basically. If we just get a 2-1 final, but yeah, I'll talk about this game while we get this baseball over. I mean, this game, I agree with what you guys said. I think Washington's still decent. I've been a little disappointed with them, but I still think they're a decent team. And I just think we've said it all year on this show. I think Kansas City is solved. I know people are going to laugh at me when I say it. They need to make some sort of adjustment. They haven't made an adjustment yet, which is a little bit of a disappointment from Andy Reid, but sit him down, Max. That's what we do. Andy Reid just hasn't made an adjustment. I consider Andy Reid a great coach. He just hasn't figured out yet how to beat the too deep coverage. They can't throw the deep ball, and it's killed them. It really has. They haven't looked like the same team to me. That doesn't mean they won't figure it out. They probably will at some point, and they'll probably start dominating again. I don't know what the answer will be, but I'm guessing they figure it out at some point. This week, though, I'm on Washington with you guys. I'm on the over. I really don't see how this game doesn't score a bunch of points. Kansas City's going to be able to score. They're not going to be able to stop Washington. And these Washington guys are just great plays. McLaurin, I think Ricky Seals-Jones is a great play. He looked really good to me last week. He had 8 targets. He had like 9 or 10 fantasy points, so nothing crazy, but he's 3K. They called a penalty back on like a 40-yard catch. He didn't score. I mean, he could have had 25 last week, easy. So I think we're getting him at a discount versus Kansas City at only 3K in this matchup. He's going to get some ownership just because he's cheap and it's in this game, but I don't think he's going to be high enough. So I'm all over this game. I like everybody in it. I want as much as I can from it. And I'm going to take Washington as far as the actual bet.
Yeah,
I mean, one more strike here, Max.
Take your money and put it on the over if you're betting this game for sure. Because both these teams,
oh God, I didn't
defenses
realize
are
one
bad.
was up too.
So from the Washington side, I mean, Washington gave up. Like Atlanta scored 30 on this Washington team. KC is going to put up a number. Washington's probably going to be able to match because they're both defenses are bad, but KC's.
Let's go, Max. Bad. Shut them down.
Tony's going to keep talking baseball as I ramble.
Oh, we got a ball game.
Well, I'm good. I'm glad. I hope you ship. And I think this may be a crazy take, but I think Tyreek Hill is going to play. I think he's going to play somewhat injured because he's definitely a little banged up. And I think what they're going to do is use him more as a decoy. And this is just a gut feeling. I don't know this for a fact, but I think Mecole Hardman ends up taking the Tyreek Hill routes more, and they use Tyreek more as the decoy where Mecole will play, and Mecole will be heavily targeted in this game. I hope Tyreek Hill is not declared out and they use him this way because I think Mecole Hardman is a really sneaky play if Tyreek Hill plays. Because if he doesn't play, everyone's going to play Mecole Hardman at 4.2K. But I think that if he plays, he doesn't play his full allotment of snaps. Mecole Hardman benefits because he'll play a lot more of that Tyreek Hill role. And we'll see a big game from him because Washington's defense is very, very poor. And KC is going to, I don't know about taking Washington. I think KC is going to put up a huge number. Not to say Washington can't match it because they easily could, but Casey's definitely winning this game and they're not losing another game, especially to Washington. So give me Hardman. That's my take. And I'll take Ricky Seals-Jones, like Tony said, at 3K. I think he's a good, cheap tight end. Maybe Gibson too, just because Casey can't stop the run either. You could play Gibson. But yeah, love this game. That's all I got. Tony, I forgot to ask you, quarterbacks, are you just going to lock in like one of these two for DFS?
I mean, like always, I'm not fully dove into the slate, but yeah, I mean, I love both of them. I don't know how many other guys I will have in my pool, but I'll for sure have these two.
Yeah, me too. All right, let's move it on along. We got Houston Texans and Big T's Indianapolis Colts. Colts are big favorites here, -10, 43.5 is the total. Dunkel, coming to you here. We playing the Carson Wentz side after that decent performance he showed?
Yes, I'll start with this, and I'm interested in ODB, your take here. I'm just going to roll Colts in everything in Survivor. It's given me the freedom to be able to save once again some big teams later on. I don't think many people realize that like there is an extra week. I mean, people know it, but like as it relates to Survivor, you're gonna run into issues at some point this year. You know, there's always that 1 or 2 weeks where you have struggles. You have an opportunity here to get a team in the Colts who just came off a terrible loss at home against arguably the worst team in football. I know that Houston looked good in their last week, but to me, that was such a flash in the pan. I mean, how often do you see a rookie quarterback who's looked like shit all year do what he did against New England? I feel like it's a perfect bounce back spot for the Colts. I know the Colts will be popular in Survivors. I'm not saying they won't be. But I do think there's going to be a few people that are going to be afraid to click on the Colts. And I'm just happy to move. I'll be happy to hopefully move on next week with the Colts here and keep another good team in my pocket, like the Rams. I know that I guess some people could have taken the Bucks. But there's really not a whole lot of options to love. I mean, you actually could talk from a leverage perspective, fading the Colts this week, hoping they lose. But As it relates to this game, yeah, I mean, I don't know where this line's going to move. If this does get to like 9, I wouldn't necessarily mind teasing this down with a 6.5 pointer to 2.5 in favor of the Colts. It is just tough to imagine the Colts lose this game, especially since Houston played arguably their best game of the season last week and still lost. But look, I did really like what I saw from this Colts offense last week. I know it was a lot of like screen action and a lot of the offensive line holding up, which the offensive line is already beaten up as it is for the Colts. But Houston's not going to get pressure on Wentz. We know if Wentz isn't getting people in his face, he's not going to have the happy feet. He can find some time to hit some guys downfield. His Colts wide receiver core is cheeks, but at the same time, this team can move the ball against good. This is still a good offensive mind in Frank Wright. And we saw that on showcase against Baltimore. I'd expect them to kind of pick up where they left off. This team is still a very long shot dark horse to sneak into the playoffs in that division, even though this is Tennessee's definitely to lose at this point. All things considered, I like Indianapolis in this spot. Do I like laying 10? No, but I think you can tease this down if some Houston money does come in. And look, the total is probably where it should be. I'd maybe argue for Houston's team total under. It's probably about 18.5, 17.5, something like that, maybe a little less. Because I just think Houston played their perfect game last week. NFL's a week-to-week league. I don't expect them to have anywhere near the same efficiency. And while the Colts probably are due to struggle a bit, I think defensively they'll clean some holes up, especially against a bad team. So overall, yeah, slightly in Colts. Not going to bet it though.
ODB, you feel the same way?
I don't really have a strong take on this game, honestly. From a survivor standpoint, I mean, the Colts are the chalk. You get a shitty team out of the way. But this is a spot where you could really gain a lot of leverage if you want to. I think the Colts are going to be, they're going to be plus 50% owned in most survivor pools. So, and this team's just not really that good. So I don't really like laying double digits with not very good teams. Houston's proven to be a little spunky. They've hung tight. They've been a little better than I thought they were going to be. I thought they were just going to be complete ass, but they're not. They fight, and I think the Colts might have a hangover from this Monday night game a little bit, and it might have taken them a day or two to get over it. If I had to play a team, I think I'd take the 10 points. Honestly, I think that's a lot for an average team. I mean, it's not like this Colts team is explosive. It's not like they're really, threatening 30s, any week. So I would lean Texans, but I don't really have a strong lean at this point. You can always play Jonathan Taylor. We know he's a stud. So just kidding. I know this pod is not pro Jonathan Taylor. Although 2 weeks,
only
although 2 weeks
when we play him on dusty running back slates, right, JJ?
2 weeks ago, JSU and I left you with the Jonathan Taylor versus the Dolphins, and he performed. So he could perform this week because
that's what we call a mic drop. ODB. We should have just stopped. We should just stop talking right after that. Let these two donkeys have to talk.
What you got, Tony? You like this game or no?
I'm like the Colts guy, but I hate the Colts when they're a favorite. Like, I hate the Colts as a 10-point favorite. I said it last week on the Monday night game. I love the Colts as underdogs. I hate the Colts as favorite. Kind of like Minnesota, how we talked about Minnesota. I love the Colts when no one thinks they're going to win. I hate the Colts when everyone thinks they're going to win. I do think they're going to win. I'm not saying that. I mean, Houston is not good. They're coming off a letdown game. So I agree with what Dunkel said. I mean, the reasoning. It's hard for me to lay 10. They'll probably win, but I think it'll be maybe closer than people think. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, I had to listen to these victory laps from that showdown game. And I've run really bad, I think, in showdown. But the dude had 15 for 53 on the ground. He just happened to take a screen 75 yards for a touchdown. I mean, 15 for 53. Come on. I mean, it's disgusting that what happened. I mean, 3 plays and 3rd and 18, and the dude freaking houses.
That's our guy. That's our guy, Fat Jimmy. That's our guy.
Painful. I had to listen to people talk about it all freaking week, but whatever. I don't. Love this game, though. I'm definitely not going to play Jonathan Taylor. I'll tell you that much. I mean, everyone's going to play him this week, I think, against Houston. Perfect game script, 6,600. Coming off the Monday night game that looked better than I think it actually was. You look at the final numbers, 32 points, but, I mean, basically 18 of them came in the first freaking play of the game. So, I don't know.
I will say that with Jonathan Taylor, he's a guy that I really like when people don't, when he's kind of under the radar, and I don't like when people like him. He seems to dud a lot as chalk, and his ceilings aren't really that high. So I would much rather play Jonathan Taylor when he's going to be 6 to 15% owned, rather than when he's going to be 20 to 35% owned, which I think he's going to probably be the latter this week. So I would say this is a definite fade spot for me for Taylor. So yeah, just strictly talking Taylor. That's my thoughts.
I would say too, just a totally dirty play. I like to talk about these plays sometimes just for the milli maker people that are putting entries in the 150 man field, or not man field, but 150 entries in a massive field. I think a totally dirty play is Marlon Mack at 4K. He's been getting more and more work. Jonathan Taylor is going to be very popular. Again, milli maker play. I'm not saying it's a good play. I'm not saying I'm going to put it on any of my main teams, but he's looked good to me the last 2 weeks. Who knows what happens? They could be up a ton of points and he gets 15 carries or something somehow at 4K, stone minimum. Just a milli maker type play. So go ahead and laugh at me, JSU.
So I was going to say one of two reasons why you could fade Jonathan Taylor. One, because they're clearly trying to showcase Marlon Mack. So if they get up big and it's that script that you're hoping for where they're ahead the whole game, or maybe they're winning big, they might just pull Taylor and let Mack finish out the game. That is a very real possibility because they're trying to trade him. So they want to showcase him a little bit. The other thing would I guess be if you wanted to say the 6K range is frigging loaded, and there are a ton of pivots. So if Jonathan Taylor ends up being like 20% or whatever, and he's popular, this is a good spot for Taylor, but I could play someone at like 5%. There are a bunch of other 6K running backs that I will gladly play that I think can give me exactly what Jonathan Taylor can give me for a ceiling game, maybe even more. I'll take those guys at a lower ownership. So for me, it's more of how the ownership shakes out, because obviously this is a good spot. But like ODB said, I like playing Jonathan Taylor when we get him at 5%, like we got him 2 weeks ago, right, ODB? Not when he's going to be one of the more popular plays on the entire slate. I want to be off the boat at that point. So that's how I feel about this game. I do think that going the wide receiver route and doing a secondary stack with like a Brandon Cooks, Michael Pittman is also a good way to leverage the Jonathan Taylor ownership, hoping that those two guys have ceiling games, and they could easily. We saw Indianapolis, their secondary is banged up. They got killed by Lamar and all their guys. So Brandon Cooks, he could have a big day. He could get 10 targets in a trailing script and end up having 100 yards. So I kind of like that leverage secondary stack as well, because Pittman's looked good to me too this whole year. And he's clearly Wentz's favorite, right, Tony? I mean, clearly it seems like Pittman's his guy.
It's honestly like you look at their roster, it's his only real receiver. I mean, the rest of the receivers suck. So, and Pittman looks really good to me. So, I'm in for Pittman for sure.
Yeah, I like it. All right, let's move on. I will also say too, one other guy, Nico Collins. I don't know if he's going to play, but he's 3K and he's coming back. He looked really good before he got injured. I don't know if he's going to play for Houston, but I think if he's active, he could get work right away because, he's one of their young receivers that just to me look really good. And they have like Chris Moore playing and Chris Conley and all these random guys. They'll probably want to get some of their younger guys work. Let's go to this game. Chargers and the Ravens. Ravens are at home. They're -2.5 favorites here. 51 is the total. So Dunkel, what do we got here? I mean, it's Lamar versus Herbert. A lot of people are starting to just absolutely blow up Herbert because, I mean, he's been friggin' unbelievable. The offense has been unbelievable. I mean, it looks real to me, so I don't blame people for thinking that he could be one of the best quarterbacks or the best quarterback in the game. But then you got Lamar, and Lamar, has a terrible first half and then has a redeeming second half against a horrible secondary, and everyone just blows him like he played an amazing full game where he didn't. He played a good second half, a terrible first half, and he gets love for it.
Yeah, I think we all have a lot of recency bias as it relates to Lamar. I remember earlier in the year, I had said that I want him to be successful because you could see he's such a dynamic quarterback that if he just got a little more accurate with his passing, he'd really be very difficult to stop for most teams and most coordinators. I believe over his last few games the accuracy's improved. I'm no scout, but he's Hollywood Brown 3 touchdown drops away from having just a monster stat line like for the season right now, even passing. I mean, forget the running. So yeah, I don't think he's gotten enough credit. I do think he's taken at least a brief step up in his passing. And you can tell by his yards as well. His yards per attempt, his yards per completion, his yards per everything's way up for his career thus far. Now, some of that does have to do with the Ravens have been spending a lot of their time trailing in games this season, which has been different for them. Their defense has usually played better. Their defense, you would think, and I know the NFL is a week-to-week league, but literally Carson Wentz chewed this team up, and now they play arguably the hottest quarterback in the NFL right now in Herbert. This is an early road game. So, play that into the factor as much as you want. But this Ravens defense has really been tough to watch. And look, I love what the Chargers have been doing with Staley. I do believe this is a great pair as a teaser. The only problem is, and Tony, Mr. You're taking this as well. There's really like no Wongs this week. I mean, there's really this game and the one I mentioned before with the Vikings. Other than that, these are really the only 2 teasers. So, if you're somebody that doesn't like to play the chalk teaser of the week, I mean, these are really the only 2 teams you can throw into a teaser. At least that makes some sense value-wise. But yeah, as it relates to how this game breaks out, you could target the Chargers team total over. It's what, 27.5? Because look, I know again it's a week-to-week league, but the Ravens have been getting torn up. And the Chargers, it seems like they scored 28 against everybody. Ironically enough, the one team they didn't was the Cowboys. That was a weird game where yards piled up. It just didn't amount to points. Yeah, look, you could also argue this Chargers team has a hiccup coming. They've looked good every game this year. And maybe that's on Staley having them always well coached. The Ravens being able to escape with a win, that you could have some hangover there, right? So yeah, I would lean the Chargers, as I don't think they should be a full dog in this game, but Ravens have looked good too. But yeah, I guess you gotta take the side of the dog here in a team that's looked tremendous to start this year, especially on the offensive end. Baltimore's got a ton of holes defensively as well.
Yeah, Dunkel, that Cowboys game, if I remember correctly, the refs were very involved in that game. I'll just say that. So I think there were a lot of points that should have been that could have been on the board that got called back for various penalties as such. So I think that game was a little unlucky and almost like an anomaly to what should have been, personally, but I agree with you. They're well coached for sure. ODB Chargers to me here, I'm just going to roll with the hot team. I mean, the Ravens to me have not looked good, or like Dunkel said, they've been trailing a lot in games. And if you're going to get in a hole to this offense, the way that defense has been playing, that's going to be bad. It's not going to be like the Colts.
I love this Chargers team. I love Staley. I love Herbert. I love the weapons. I love Derwin James. I mean, there's a lot to love about this Chargers team. I do not like this spot at all. That was, they're both coming off of emotional games. So I guess those kind of cancel each other out. But I think Baltimore is a tough place to play. It's a tough place to fly into from LA, from an early game. I do think, as good as the Chargers are, it's not like they're, the proven winners that have learned how to play through all the admiration and everything that's coming their way right now. They're the hot young team that everybody's falling in love with. Everybody's just tripping over themselves to praise Staley and Herbert and give them MVP, Coach of the Year, everything. And Harbaugh's a good coach. Baltimore's a tough place to play. The defense has not looked that good, but I do think there's potential to rise up and at least keep them in check a little bit. I'm not the biggest Lamar fan, but I've prided myself the last couple of years of not being stubborn, and he does look good, man. I mean, Lamar looks good. This team looks good. Hollywood's solved a lot of the problems he had last year. He's learning how to use Andrews again. I think this spot is really nice for the Ravens. And it's tough for me to say that because, I am a Charger homer. I mean, I've bet on them basically every game this year, and I really haven't loved the Ravens, but I like the Ravens in this spot.
Okay. Ravens. So we got 2 Chargers, I believe, and 1 Ravens. Tony, what do we got with you?
Yeah, I've agreed with ODB the whole show, so I got to give a disagreement finally. This is my spot for sure. I love the Chargers. I think Baltimore sucks. I don't believe in them at all. The freaking Colts lost their entire secondary in that game, made Lamar look like Joe Montana. I just think the Chargers are really good, and I don't like Baltimore, so I love this spot. I haven't taken hardly any victory laps on this show because I've sucked all year in the NFL, but I did say Big Mike Williams was way better than Keenan Allen, and he just keeps destroying him every week. And now he's 1,700 more. He's 8,100 now. Keenan Allen 6,400. And somehow Keenan Allen is still out projecting him. Every single site has Keenan Allen a higher projection. And I literally just don't get it. Why does he keep being projected higher? When Mike Williams is hurt this week, so it's a bad example. He might not even play. But if he's healthy, I just don't get it. If he's healthy, I'm going to play him every week over Keenan Allen. Let everyone out. Let all the chalk people, all the optimizer people keep just jamming Keenan Allen in there when it's not the same Keenan Allen. I mean, 6 for 75, 7 for 36, 8 for 50 the last 3 weeks. He's still getting targets. But Big Mike can go deep, and he's got all the upside, which we want in tournaments. So I like that. I like the Chargers, though. I think they win this week. I love everything about them. And one guy, though, I mean, if Bateman finally plays this week, I've been waiting every week for him to play. He's 3K. Everyone's going to play mid-range builds. If we go with the Stars and Scrubs build, Bateman at 3K. Whenever he plays, there's going to be a week he finally debuts. Whenever it is and he's 3K, I'm definitely going to play some because the dude's a stud. I loved him in college. They used a high draft pick on him. He's going to be a great third option with Andrews and Marquise Brown. Sign me up for him if he plays. I'll play him at 3K. I think Baltimore will score some points. I just think the Chargers will score more points. So sign me up for the Chargers.
Yeah, I agree with you that I think the Chargers are the better team here. I think the Ravens aren't as good as maybe what people think, and their defense specifically. But the biggest problem with their team is it's a run first team, and Lamar doesn't trust his friggin' running backs. Tony, I talked about it a little bit on the showdown. It is clear to me the guy does not want, on those read option plays, he does not want to give Latavius Murray, Devontae Freeman. I don't blame him, but he doesn't want to give him the ball. He wants to take it and run every time.
I said it earlier, but would you want to give him the ball?
No, I wouldn't. But I'm saying that team is a run first team, and they normally are really good at it. The problem is against the Chargers, I think you need to be a team that can be efficient on the ground and run the football against them to set up the passing plays, because their pass defense is so good. It's legit. And to be able to get them, I think you need to be able to establish that run game to start like Cleveland did. And then those plays, the passing game will open up a little more for them in bigger plays if the run game's working. I just don't think it's going to here. And that's why I don't love the Ravens in this spot. I think the Chargers win. I'm going to keep saying it, like these running backs, there's so many good ones. Austin Eckler, I mean, it might not look like a great spot, but the dude is smashed. I mean, and I don't think he's going to be popular because I don't think people are going to want to pay up to where he is at 7,900. And the guy has put up 22, 32, and 33 fantasy points his last 4 weeks. And he's not going to be popular. And normally when dudes put up multiple big performances in fantasy, they normally come with, a little bit more ownership, and he is not. So he's someone, if you want to play at low ownership, I have no problem playing. I think there's so many viable running backs on the slate. It's insane. Depending on who's in and out, obviously guys are questionable and we got to wait because seems like 20 running backs that are questionable on the slate. But I do think Austin Eckler and Millie Maker formats in large field GPPs makes a lot of sense just as a pivot because no one's going to want to pay up into that upper 7K tier. I think those guys are going to be 5%, which is great for tournaments. So, and then obviously the Mike Williams news once we get that, we can hit on the Chargers news, but not till then. Let's move on though. Got a few more games left. Let's talk about Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots. If you guys want to give a quick note on this game, because I want nothing to do with this game at all, except to say, give me the Cowboys -3.5, -4.5, -5. Just give me the Cowboys, and they're going to win this game easy. Dunkel, am I going over the top on this game?
No. So, yeah, I think that it's pretty clear that if these two teams met week 1, this line would not be this. It would be something of the flavor of a pick'em or New England -1. Now it's Dallas -4-ish. The problem is they still might not be giving Dallas enough credit. This offense has looked incredible. Now I know that it's a collection of course, Dak being back, Zeke, who is not fat anymore, and CeeDee Lamb, who's been incredible. So I think overall this offense has been fantastic. And then Diggs on the other end, who's basically just been a phenom on that side of the ball. And look, it's the Patriots here, who look, I don't. Patriots are going to have to slow this game down tremendously. They're going to have to run the ball effectively. They're going to have long sustained drives. Mac Jones, who's like 3rd in the league in turnovers, that's not going to help here at all. You're going to need to win the turnover battle against Dallas if you're the Patriots. I know that you would be getting yourself a bad line. This would be somewhat of the chalky play. I just don't see how people can step up and back New England here, especially if you've watched this Dallas offense. I'm just trying to understand like a game flow or game script where Dallas loses. Like it would have to be Dak making weird turnovers or them going deep. And you know what, McCarthy, how often they go for it on 4th and shorts. Maybe they do that a little too much and get cute. And New England's able to take advantage, or New England, has all these hidden yards and special teams. But when you just talk on offensive firepower, I mean, you're talking like cream of the crop versus the bottom end of the barrel with how these two match up offensively. So yeah, a small number, and it's, you're not talking going to New England in December here. Weather will be fine. I just think this Dallas offense has been a machine. And while this could be a spot where you could argue they could hiccup, if you will, and then there's the other narrative of this where, Dallas winning would make them 5-1 and New England 2-4. And if you're somebody that believes the NFL always finds its way back to median out, then sure, maybe bet the Patriots. But from a numbers perspective and how these teams have fit the eye test, I mean, Dallas is much better than this line's indicating. So enough is pushing me away from backing this game in general with either side, because there's got arrows going both ways. But I do think you could have some value potential with trying to go Dallas over their team total number, which I believe is like 26.5, 25.5. I think that's very respectable and a number they could definitely attain against this New England defense.
Yeah, ODB, what do you think? Do you agree with JJ that the line seems a little fishy to you? It's not giving Dallas enough respect?
Well, I wish I would have been on the show last week because I found Dallas I got Dallas at 9-1 to win the NFC. And now that number's down to like 6-1. So I don't really understand why Dallas isn't getting respect. 2 weeks ago on the show, Dallas versus Carolina, one of my favorite picks. Dallas stomped them. Last week versus the Giants, obviously there were injuries. They stomped them. I don't understand. Dallas is a public team, and I don't understand why they are not getting the credit they deserve. They've got an excellent offensive line. They have an excellent quarterback. They have an excellent set of weapons. They have excellent running back core. The defense is really good. This is a championship contending team. And let's look at the Patriots. And if you put a different jersey on them, and it's not the New England Patriots, it's not the mystique of the New England dynasty, this team is not getting 3 to 3.5 in this spot. Like, this is a 6-point line. This team is not that good. They don't have the weapons to keep up with Dallas. They don't have the great line play that they expected to have. They don't have the great defense they were supposed to have. I mean, it's basically, if you take New England, you're betting the mystique, and that's it. And I understand. I mean, I've been a New England fan my whole life, and I understand the mystique of the last 20 years for the Patriots, but just players for players, the Cowboys are a superior team. And I think this line should be closer to 6. I mean, the Bucks went in and were 7-point favorite. I don't really think on a neutral field right now, Dallas is 4 points worse than the Bucks. So I'm gonna hold my nose and hope that, you know, the Patriots, Bill Belichick mystique doesn't, rise from the dead and find a way to get this game, because I really like this Cowboys team, and I'm going to keep backing them until Vegas, puts their number up a little higher.
Yeah, Tony, I got a take on this Patriots defense in a sec, but I want to bring you in here and give us your take on the game, on the line. What do you think of Cowboys at 3.5?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what they just said, especially ODB. I mean, I just think the Patriots are awful. They have no good players, really. I like Jacoby Myers. I should say that. I like Jacoby Myers. But besides that, I mean, Dallas, look how many good dudes they have. I mean, 2 good running backs, 2-3 good receivers, 2 good tight ends, a good quarterback, a good line, a good defense that somehow picked up a bunch of pieces on defense. They're just better everywhere, and the spread just isn't high enough. I really don't think they could set it high. They would have to set it like 7.5 for me to be worried about it. Similar to the Tampa game where it went down to 6.5 that night. Tampa's maybe a little bit better than Dallas, but I agree with ODB. They're not 3 or 4, 2, 3, 4 better than Dallas. And we saw it opening night on that Thursday. Dallas had them beat. Dallas was the better team when they played Tampa in Tampa. I thought they didn't win the game. I thought they were better. Just Brady got the ball at the end and they got a field goal and won. But Dallas is at worst equal to Tampa, I think, right now. New England sucks. There's no way I would ever bet New England in this game. I like Dallas. I do like Jacoby Myers, though. I will play Jacoby Myers for sure. If Dallas is up, Jacoby's going to get a bunch of targets again. I'm not quitting him yet. I'm playing him again this week.
I mean, look what Davis Mills did against this Patriots team. I mean,
Yeah.
You look like an NFL quarterback. What do you think Dak and CD and Amari can do to this team? And also, I think Dak and the Cowboys have been a little chalky over the past few weeks. This could be a time to get them at a little lower ownership if you're so inclined in some of these tournaments. You can get that Dak stack this week at a much lower ownership. I would guess. I assume this total is pretty low, and I assume that the DFS world's not going to be on that stack. So if you're firing a lot of lineups or you're looking for contrarian, you're playing bigger field stuff, then I definitely wouldn't mind going to Dallas.
Yeah. So the Patriots thus far have played the Jets, the Dolphins, the Saints, the Bucks, and the Texans. I mean, they played 3 or 4 really bad teams on the schedule. One thing I'll say too is the Patriots are dropping back in coverage a ton. They're not blitzing as much. They're dropping 7 back a lot. And I mean, good luck doing that against Dak, because Dak's just going to have all time to throw. And I think they're also getting gashed way more than people realize in the run game because of it. Just because Belichick's, I think, more worried about that secondary. So he's trying to help out his secondary. That's not as good this year, clearly. And it's going to bleed rushing yards. The problem is, look at the teams they played. These are terrible offense. I mean, besides the Bucs, the Jets, Miami, the Saints, the Texans. I mean, not very good run teams, not very good offensive lines. Not like, this is going to be the first game, in my opinion, maybe the second game, because if you want to say the Bucs, but like Dallas
That weather was
line
terrible.
and
That weather was terrible in that Bucs game. I mean, you
That's a good
can
point,
almost
too.
even throw that
Yeah.
out.
yeah,
There was
that's a good
so
point,
much
too.
hidden
So-
factors in that game too. Like that game, that was a completely different game.
Yeah, it would have been different if it wasn't for that weather. But
Well, I mean, it was
think-
still all the hidden factor Brady Belichick too. I mean, there was, I don't think you can weigh it all.
okay, but all I'm going to say is I think this is going to be the first real game where they get an O-line
Yeah.
in Zeke. And I think Zeke's going to run all over New England. And it's to the point where I think they win by so much that I think Tony Pollard might get some work too. And Tony Pollard could be a sneaky play as well. But I think that no one is picking up on the fact that the Patriots are going to be they're going to get gashed in the run game. And they just haven't really seen it enough to kind of pinpoint it. And I think we can be the first on the boat with it. So I like Zeke. I think Zeke's a really, really good play in DFS. I don't think he's going to be heavily owned either at 7,100. So he's a guy that I will definitely be on. And I like the Cowboys D too. I'll use it as a correlation and play Zeke and the Cowboys D a little bit. Because I think they're just gonna give up chunk yards to Zeke in the run game. They're not gonna be able to stop it. Who like Dak, if they don't drop back in coverage, Dak's gonna carve them up, like ODB said. And if they do, Zeke's gonna run right through them, like he's done to the last 3 opponents. So give me the run game. All right, what we got here? We gotta be we're almost out of here. So we got the Raiders and the Broncos. Broncos -3.5. 43.5 is the total. Not a great, I would say, DFS game, but Dunkel, what do you think? Nope.
Muted.
That's the mute.
You hate to see it.
Come on, Dunkel. We had 1 game left or 2 games left.
The
You
over
don't do
got
that.
there. The over got
We
there.
should
on
have
Dunkel
like a
mute.
thing on this show where we have like $100 bucket. Whenever someone talks on mute, you got to donate 100 to the end of the season fund.
Yeah. So at 3.5, you're slightly in Vegas. Look, I know coming in, all the narratives are going to be about the Gruden news and how do the Raiders pick up? I don't know what to fully believe on this Denver defense. I know they played 3 crap teams to start the year. They haven't played crap teams since, and their defense hasn't looked anything close to what it looked like the first 3 weeks. However, the Raiders have kind of been like sleepwalking a bit recently. I don't think Denver's done enough to prove that they should be the hook here. Again, I know that there's a narrative here about the Raiders. I just think it's playing a little too much into it with Gruden. And I think it's a big number. I know for a fact I'm getting the better offense. I don't think the defense is that much better, at least from what I've seen against this Broncos team against good teams or good offenses. So yeah, for me, it would have to be Raiders or nothing on my end. And at 3.5, yeah, it'll be Raiders.
ODB, what do you think?
I like the Broncos. I don't believe in this Raiders team. I never believed in this Raiders team. I still don't believe in this Raiders team. I do buy into the narrative. I think this has been a week of turmoil. This has been a week of lack of preparation. I think the Broncos defense is not a team, and Denver is not a place you want to go. Lack of preparation. They have no running backs. They have not. I think, the Broncos hurt me last week with the Steelers, but I'm going to go right back to them. It really is a lower scoring game, most likely, which I don't like laying the hook, and I think the hook is strictly because of the Gruden situation. So, I think we're paying for that narrative. But I think the Raiders are kind of trashy. I always thought they were trashy. And another week of Teddy being a little more healthy. Maybe he wasn't all the way back last week. Yeah, I like the Broncos in this to win the game and hope they can get enough to cover.
Yeah,
I don't like anything DFS wise.
I kind of agree with you. I think that the Broncos here, the Raiders, off of everything that's happened, I'm sorry, and they lost to the Bears. The Bears were leading in that game, like the whole game. That was a bad loss. They're going to come to Denver now on top of that after losing their head coach, which whatever you want to say about that. But I think that's a bigger deal than maybe Dunkel's given credit for. And I think Denver is going to bounce back. The defense, I thought at the beginning of the year, this was one of the better defenses in all of football, one of the more improved defenses. They haven't shown it the last couple of weeks, but I think it's going to get there. I like them. From a DFS side, I struggle because I love playing running backs against the Raiders. They do get beaten up against RBs, and I want to play an RB from Denver because I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to lead, and I want to play Javonte, but Melvin Gordon seems to be the guy they lean on, especially in closer games. So I'm struggling right now. I probably should play Melvin because they're the same friggin' price too in DFS. We don't even get a price discount, but I don't know. We'll see on that one. Tony, what do you think of this game?
I'm conflicted on this game because I hate the Raiders. I've touted all season how I think they're awful and overrated and everything ODB just said. But man, Denver's hurt my feelings the last 2 weeks. I'm just going to be honest. I was touting them up hard. I really like Denver. They look good the first couple weeks. God, I watched them close the last 2 weeks. They look horrible, like really, really bad. And they just hurt my feelings. So they broke my spirit a little bit. I definitely can't take the Raiders, though. No way I'm taking them. It's probably just going to be a pass. I would have to bet Denver or pass. But with all the unknowns, you got the Raiders, all the news this week, the Gruden stuff. Who knows what the locker room's doing? Who knows what the preparation? Are they going to come out and play hard and prove a statement? I think a lot of them like Gruden, honestly. There's all the talk about this and that, but I think they like him. I know Carr likes him. Maybe they come and play for Gruden. So too many unknowns, and Denver just pissed me off. They looked so freaking bad the last 2 weeks. I'm just I'm taking this game off. Yeah, I'm not. Get me away from this game.
All right, we'll get you away from it and on to the last game we got. I saved the best for last, guys. Cincinnati and Detroit. -3.5. Bengals are the favorites here. This game is in Detroit. 47 is the total. Dunkel, kicking it to you here. Last game, what do you got?
So to me, this is very similar to the Cowboys game with the Patriots in the sense that, man, the Bengals just not getting enough love here. Like I like what I've seen from the Lions, and the head coach is an emotional, fiery guy, and he's been keeping his team in games. This Bengals squad is good. Jamar Chase is really good. This defense is somewhat underrated as well. I thought they played a really good game against the Packers, a game in which they very well could have won. Granted, Mason Crosby did them some favors, but this team has long, methodical drives. They have no problem eating up clock. Burrow, if there's one thing Jamar Chase has done for Burrow, is one of the biggest critical pieces of him as a quarterback last year before his injury was it was a lot of short field stuff. It was a lot of quick drops, 8 to 10 yards, 12 yards. He didn't really take shots downfield, and defenses started to get the hang of it and just play up on him. And he just didn't have any deep threats with that offense. Jamar Chase has kind of opened up this offense entirely. Burrow has taken multiple deep shots a game, and this offense has flowed much better through it. Now, Detroit, on the other hand, I look at last week as a game Minnesota almost gifted them. Minnesota was practically, the score doesn't indicate enough. Minnesota was practically dominating most of that entire game. And they just decided to go complacent with a lead in the fourth quarter and then fumble at a bad time. But I don't think the box score indicates near enough. Minnesota outplayed them, and I expect Cincinnati to outplay Detroit here in a pretty major way. 3.5. Again, this is why I compare this similar to the Dallas game. Cincinnati has proven that they're in a different tier. And if we remember, like they basically have Cincy as like a sub 3-point dog against Green Bay, 3.5 on a neutral, I guess we consider it. I mean, would Green Bay be what, 6 here? I don't know. They'd probably be a little bigger than 6.5. So
weren't they 10 a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I think I was in Green Bay though, right? I think.
No, it's I don't know. I thought it was in Detroit, but
if it was in Detroit and they were -11, that even says even more to how much.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Value there is here.
Who was it? Which one were you talking about?
What was the Monday night game? What was the Monday night game? The Green Bay Detroit.
It was in Green Bay, right?
Oh, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to watch that.
It was because it was Jamal Williams. He came back to Green Bay.
All right, my bad.
There's still value there though, ODB, even still with Cincy. Like again, I get it that people have enjoyed what they've seen from this Lions team, but I've personally enjoyed a lot what I've seen from this Bengals team. I think they're much improved this year. Chase opens up their entire offense. Mixon's been great. Assuming he plays when he's a bit banged up, but Burrows looked good from his injury. This defense has definitely been underrated. And the Lions, to me, are still a bottom feeder. So I don't think the Bengals get enough credit. I think the Lions are getting a little too much credit here. So I do like the Bengals here at 3.5.
All right. ODB, Bengals. We got one Bengal, or are you going to add?
I sparked the chat with the Gruden talk. Like, it's too late in the night to get fired up about Gruden in there. T from LOC. It's going to be okay, buddy.
Yeah, I think it was the some people maybe still like Gruden.
Again,
first of all,
like,
timeout. I'm gonna time this out because one, we don't want to talk about this, to be honest with people, but I'm just gonna give you the real life scenario. This is the truth. No one friggin' knows. Maybe they all hated his guts. Maybe they all did. Maybe he's like that, and that's that. We don't know. We assume though that, maybe there are people that didn't like him just in general, but Derek Carr did come out and say what he said was garbage, but he still likes him, or whatever the hell he said. And maybe you say he has to say it, but I don't think he has to say it. He helped Derek Carr become a little better player. That's seen. I think
anyone that's been in a locker room though, there's some outlandish stuff that's said in locker rooms that I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole. I'm not defending everything Gruden said, so I'm not going down the rabbit. I'm just saying I don't think the locker room's like outraged by what he said as much as other people.
Yeah, ODB, did you want to say something?
I just want to get back to my favorite game of the week.
Don't get me excited.
Get back.
I mean,
if you say Detroit, I'm going to be heartbroken.
I was afraid that you skipped this game, but I guess you just
kind of
like
was too.
ODB. I was saving it because it's my favorite game.
It's everybody's favorite game.
This is my favorite game. I have strong takes on this game. And
if you say Detroit, I'm shutting the whole thing down.
I'm going to give them to you right now. First of all, Detroit is a team that you can take when they're big underdog.
Oh,
and they have a team.
Don't do it to us. Don't ruin the mojo.
Listen, can you shut up for 2 minutes? I want to speak about this game. Detroit is a team that you can play when they're a big underdog, when teams are overlooking them, when it's a sandwich game. That is not the spot here. This spot is all Cincinnati.
Let's go.
When Detroit's only getting a small number, that's when you want to play against them. Against the Bears a couple weeks ago, everybody loaded up on Detroit. Like, that was the fakest sharp money I've ever seen. I mean, Detroit is not a good football team. They can hang around when teams stop trying, when teams aren't very good. But like you said earlier, they're a couple Hollywood Brown drops away from getting blown out in that game. Minnesota, if Madison doesn't fumble the ball right there, they're probably going to win that game by 2 touchdowns. Detroit is not a good football team. The Bengals are a good football team. You're getting a short number. They're going to throw all over this putrid secondary. Burrow with all 3 of his weapons. Give me the Burrow Chase stack for all the money in DFS. Give me the Bengals for all the money betting. I think people people want to like this Lions team, and it's just not a good football team. And the Bengals are a good football team. This Bengals team has a legit shot of getting that 7th wild card team, that wild card slot in the AFC. They are a good football team. They blew out the Steelers. They hung with the Packers, who we all think are Super Bowl contenders. They should have beaten the Packers. This is a good football team. Don't let that escape Houdini act on a Thursday night in Jacksonville, get away from the real thing. They have offensive weapons. Zach Taylor is getting a lot of shit, but I think he's actually a pretty good coach for the most part. And the defense is pretty decent. Detroit can't stop anybody. This team is going to put up some points, and Detroit is going to struggle to score. I like Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati big. I like Cincinnati in DFS. You can bring it back with Swift with a lot of dump-offs and negative scripts. I like Swift. You can play Hawk if you want. But I like the Bengals. I like them a lot, and I like everything about them.
Tony, we got a ton of Bengals love. Are you just going to add right to the Bengals love here? Me and a Cincy guy?
I was just so terrified that ODB was I just couldn't stop talking. He had to put me back in my place because, I freaking love the Bengals in this spot. They looked good last week. We got a little scare with Burrow losing his mind for a minute and thinking he's Lamar Jackson, freaking running and just diving, spiraling himself into the defense. Don't ever do that again, Joe Burrow. We don't need that first down that bad. I freaking love this game. Jamar Chase is like the next coming of whatever, freaking Randy Moss. He's a beast. Like, I love Jamar Chase. I love this offense. I'm so excited that ODB and Dunkel are on this. JSU's on it too, I'm sure. And Swift is the perfect freaking run back. I love playing Swift in these games where they're going to be trailing and he can get 12 targets. Everything lines up for us here. We should always finish these shows where we get this good mojo going with a game like this. That's good hosting, JSU. That's how you bring us home. You finish it off with the game we all love.
Yep, I'm gonna seal it right now with the JSU stamp of approval. I mean, Jamar Chase is a fucking beast. I'm not even gonna lie. There are some things when I'm right, I'll say it. When I'm wrong, I'll say it too. Jamar Chase coming into the year, I thought Devontae Smith was going to be better than him and have a better year than him. I can say that I'm probably going to be wrong on that assumption.
It does help to have Joe Burrow throwing instead of Hurts. I'll say that. I love Chase, but it does help.
But Tony, I did know that
I love him
coming into the year. Yeah. I didn't know who was throwing to both guys. So I will take the L on the Jamar Chase because that dude, I mean, and he dropped a ball or two that could have even made it a bigger game.
Was it the Lace's fault?
I don't know. I don't know whose fault it was or what fault, but all I'm going to say is Jamar Chase in DFS is a friggin' great play. Joe Burrow is a great play. From the Detroit side, Frank Ragnow, their center, who was one of their best offensive linemen, got a big contract. He's going to be out. He's out for the rest of the year. That's a huge loss for that offensive line for sure. I think that just sets up for more DeAndre Swift on the field in general, because I think they're going to have to put more, short passes to running backs to kind of slow down the pass rush of other teams. And so it's going to set up well because I think they're going to be trailing anyways. And I think they're going to need Swift in the game more with that loss, which is a huge loss for them in that offensive line. So give me Swift. They also have they lost Cephas. So now they're down Terrell Williams, Cephas. They only got so many wide receivers left. They got Amon St. Brown, Khalif Raymond.
Also, can I just say why are the Bengals laying 7.5 at Jacksonville on a Thursday night, which is tougher on Thursday, and they're laying 3.5 at Detroit?
The Bengals game was at home.
Oh, okay. Well, then that makes more sense. Sorry, I'm an idiot.
It's still a bad line though, so your point's still true, but
it's not like Detroit has a home field advantage at all.
Yeah.
And I actually think the dome helps the faster.
Cincinnati's close to here. Receivers. I mean, Detroit, I can get to that stadium in 3 hours from my house, basically.
Yeah, honestly, they might have 30% of the crowd might be Cincinnati. The rest of them are just going to be in there booing and eating nachos.
The turf helps, right? The turf has to help guys like Jamar Chase.
That's what I think. I think it's a fast surface. I think that benefits us even more. I love this Bengals, and I hope my partner and I in the super contest, we agree on almost everything. He told me early he liked the Lions this week.
Don't be saying that.
I'm hoping I can convince him that we can play the Bengals on all the cards, because I love this spot. This is one of my favorite games that I've had in a while. I love the Bengals here.
Yeah.
Someone asked, what about Mixon? Thoughts on Chris Evans if he's out? P. Ryan's already out. I mean, this is a great team to attack running backs. Like
if Mixon was somehow out, maybe, but
I mean,
if he's in.
If Mixon's in, I'm going to struggle unless they put out a report saying he's like going to be limited again. I love Mixon in this spot. I think it's a great Mixon spot. When he was out there, I know they said
he just sat so much though. Like
he didn't play a lot. My hope is that he obviously would play more. But man, that cut he made when he scored that touchdown, like
he's a beast. I mean, he's good when he's healthy.
Man. Yeah.
Mixon is a fantastic play this week if you're playing in things where you really want to get low ownership, because he has a chance to have a big ceiling game, and people are going to be scared off because he's injured, because he's been injured. But this is a really good spot for him. I think Detroit is not very good versus the run. I mean, we saw what Madison did versus him. I mean, Mixon is a 3-down back when he plays, and nobody fucking likes Mixon, and he's always low owned, and coming off of an injury, he's going to be even lower owned. And as you said, there's a lot of options this week at running back. I love Mixon. I don't think I'm going to play him. I mean, I play a one lineup versus 20 guys in a huge cash league we have, but because I'm probably going to play Burrow Chase. But I could even see playing Burrow, Chase, Mixon. I mean, I think this team's going to score 40 on this Lions. This defense is terrible. Don't let their defensive performance against the Vikings, convince you otherwise. This Lions defense is not good.
Yeah, I mean, I love it as long as, like you said, he's healthy. And T from LOC says Mixon so cheeks. Dude, I've played cheeks running backs when they're in primo spots all the time. So I don't even care. If you think that the script sets up well for the running back and this defense is awful, which they are, especially against the run, it shouldn't even matter to you as long as that running back is playing. My worry is not about how good Mixon is. It's more about, is he going to actually get his full allotment of snaps? If he is, I'm going to play him. If he has a chance to, I'm going to play him because he's going to be low owned. No one's going to play him, like ODB said, because of the injury concern. And hence, I like ownership, low owned running backs in smash spots.
Also,
that's
Mixon,
what you want in DFS.
Mixon is not cheeks. Dude's good.
I know he's not, but I was just making a point.
I don't know how anyone could say Mixon is cheeks anyways. Like, that's a terrible take. If he's healthy, how could you possibly think that?
I'm still going to say that cut he made to score that touchdown was pretty sick.
Because he's good.
And he was injured. Like, I don't know. I think
he's
good.
cheeks when he plays 30% of the snaps. I mean, if he's in there healthy, he's not cheeks.
Mangone called this game slow-paced and slug yesterday. I'm sorry, JS. Oh, I don't care. So Mangone doesn't like this game.
That's fine, Mangone. Come get the smoke, because all four of us, I'll get some Mangone smoke.
Mangone can slide in. Travis.
Yeah.
Wait, what game?
Listen. This is the thing about DFS and betting. Sorry, I'm a fucking bottle and a half deep in wine, but I might be slurring a little. But here's the thing. If everybody thinks it's a great fucking play, it's not a good play because everybody's playing it, right?
It's so simple when you think about it, though.
Okay. So one guy doesn't like it. Well, if every podcast and every fucking site you're paying for is touting the same thing, that just means they're going to be super high owned. So you know what? Take a shot on a team like the Bengals. They got weapons. They're going up against a terrible defense. They're playing in a fast environment in a dome versus a terrible defense. Let's fucking go. They need the win. They I think they're hungry. They're pissed. They lost to the Packers at home. They had that game in their pocket. They want to belong. And this Joe Burrow dude's for fucking real, man. This guy's a good player.
He's for fucking real. Detroit plays over 50% man defense. Good luck playing man-to-man against Jamar Chase and fucking Joe Burrow combo, because Joe Burrow's going to just throw it right over your head for another Jamar Chase long touchdown.
I love how
two.
he gives them chances too. Like he'll just throw it even if he's not open.
That 60-yard rope he threw. Now, sure, it was a little fortunate before the half that the dude missed the ball on defense, but
still
a rope to chase.
Why do more quarterbacks not throw that ball? Like you get a PI, you get a catch. Sure, every once in a while it's a pick. I mean, like Hurts, of course, Hurts throws the pick when he throws the deep ball because his receiver jumps like 10 seconds early tonight. But
Hurts stinks. That's a terrible comparison.
He's Cheeks. What's the dude's name? T from LOC. Hurts is the Cheeks.
Hurts will not be starting in the NFL in fucking 2022.
Yeah. Last question before we get out of here. Jake's asking for the pace. He's asking, is the pace actually going to be slower? Do we think it's going to be fast paced? The question really is, do you think Detroit can score on Cincinnati and keep it in somewhat of a way where the game is back and forth? Or do you think that Cincinnati, I definitely think Cincinnati can score on Detroit.
God. The T from LOC that's been talking crap all night was the one that called the Mostert injury. Get out of here, T from LLC. You're constant bad mojo.
Oh, God.
Who didn't know that would be you? That's so bad.
Oh, did he say it?
The thing about Detroit is they never give up. They constantly try and they'll be throwing. And that's the thing that okay, so this game might be sluggish, but if Cincinnati gets up 14-0, Detroit's going to throw the ball. And when they throw the ball, they have Jared Goff throwing it to shit-ass receivers. That leads to incomplete passes. That leads to more time with Burrow with the ball in his hands, more fucking darts to chase, more touchdowns for Mixon. Let's fucking go, Cincy.
Yeah, let's go.
And I love the Swift bring back. The Swift bring back is the best.
And since he's not a team that's going to get off the gas anyways, they're a young team. They just got screwed versus Green Bay last week. They could have won that game easy. They've seen Detroit come back a few different weeks. Right. They're going to keep their foot down. Since he's going to ship for us on this show. Let's go.
Love anyone as much as JSU loves DeAndre Swift, though.
Imagine if he played for Cleveland.
I mean, JSU locks him into like 30% of his lineups every week.
Dunkel. It's not my fault that the guy gets like 7 catches a game and he scores a touchdown like every other game. I mean, I can't help it. The guy's just a beast.
Under those 2 running back positions every week, it should just be 2 fucking fat ass cheeks.
You know what? I called the Swift breakout game last year, and he's my favorite player. How about that, Dunkel? All right, eat that shit. Okay. Called the Jonathan Taylor breakout. I called the Swift breakout.
Get us out of here on the Bengals. Come on, get us out of here.
What? Swift wasn't good? I thought that was good mojo.
Get us out of here with the Bengals action.
Like, wait, guys.
All right, Bengals. Give me Jamar Chase. Give me all the Jamar Chase this week. I can't wait for that, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button in the bottom right corner. That red little button helps us out. For me, JSU, Big T,
Dunkel getting married this weekend.
Dunkel. Have a great weekend. Let's ship. Get us out of here, Helmet.